Heads up.
Oh, Lodi, hit us up with a follow. Thanks for following. We'll be live in about 10 minutes. So in 10 minutes we shall start tonight's live stream of the Ace Attorney Chronicles. Enjoy the music till then. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time. Let's get on with tonight's stream of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. What is up, guys? This is Brownie of the Joy Charge Gamers, charging with joy with tonight's episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We're going to dive into the second game again and carry on with case number 3, and let's see how far we can get. So last time we found out with Gina's lovable help of a little dog, Toby, we then found out that there was we found the secret mastermind of Dabbler, or the Apple. And we managed to bring him to the court, so now let's see exactly where this game goes from here. So if you guys are ready, let's do this and get back to where we were. Oh yeah, I forgot exactly where we were, but close enough. There we go. Sorry, just had something I had to take care of. Alright. Since I don't really need these, because nobody's here. Wait, let's find out what's going on. Let's see. Establish this deception, do it right. Sorry? I feel that's the undertone here. Ah, yes, and there's one more point. Oh, yeah. The defense appears to have forgotten. I almost forgot I gave this guy a robotic voice for Drebber. Also, he seems to do a very good dance move. I like his dance move. Do the wave! Go do the wave! It obviously wasn't a trick, as a certain truth very playfully demonstrates. Okay. More to do. Oh, the truth matter. Okay. Treat the matter scientifically, after all. So, what? Oh! That's a move. He's doing the robot now. The kinesis clearly took place because there's nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen from. That would be the balloon. Might as well get this info while we're at it. The stage was alive on stage in front of the audience. Yes, there are lots of witnesses who saw Mr. Assman. I still keep thinking he's called Assman. I still want to keep calling him Assman, even though he's not. Following a fall. Logically, therefore, the victim must have fallen from somewhere. The balloon that exploded was at an altitude of 60 feet. The point of impact on the tower was 30 feet up. The difference of 30 feet is therefore the total distance the cage fell. No other location from the cage could have fallen the distance if it didn't drop out of the sky. Ergo, the victim himself must have been beamed from the stage into the sky above the tower. Every time I hear it explained, it sounds increasingly plausible. Oh yes, it's all very well thought out. Certainly all the spectators on the day saw it. The birdcage plummeting 30 feet through the air, I mean. Irritatingly, yes. Wish the machine was flawed somehow. This has to be the issue. Not that, Toby. Wait. Wait a minute! The hole! The hole here! Wouldn't this count? Let's see. Yeah. Kinesis skeletal base says there's nowhere else the thing could have done. This has to be it, right? Because that shows there's a bit there. Right? Or am I overthinking this again? Here for the birdcage to have fallen from. Let's check all this stuff. Yeah, actually, could it be that? I don't know. What do you guys think? Also, hello to all of you who are here. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate your kindness. Okay, let me just grab this. Check 1, 2. The third balloon is what we're looking for. So it's gotta be this balloon here, then. Give me 1 second. Hello. Let's see. Would it be this? Yeah, here we go. Hey, someone updated it. Thank goodness. Okay. So I've got it ready to go just in case we need it. Now, yes, it couldn't be this. So, well, this just proves it's a balloon. It doesn't show what it is. So maybe, so it had to be the sketch or the piece of cloth. Okay.
Objection.
There we go. It's just the surroundings. So it was the sketch. We know that somehow the birdcage appeared in midair before falling into the crystal tower. And then landing donk. If you examine the diagram carefully, you'll see that there's one other possible location for which the birdcage could have fallen. The tower. No. It has to be the tower. It has to be the tower. Yes, my lord, of course. You will indicate the place to which you are referring to on the same diagram. The alternative location for which the birdcage could have possibly have fallen the requisite 30 feet. So it would have to be here. Because we saw there's a hole. So it would have to make sense it would be here. Take that! There we go. Give me 1 minute. There we go there. So just having a mini word with Hannah. There we go. Which is exactly the point, my lord. Concerning we remember that it didn't really do it. Also consider is the height of the stage itself. Go on, council. Hey Del, good to see ya. Built a considerable height around ground level. If you look at the diagram, in fact, you'll see it's about the same height above the ground as the balloon was above the crash site. When the experiment got underway, the machine and the birdcage were engulfed in steam. So nobody saw that! Which is how the hole was made! Booyah! Oh. Aha! Got him! That'll do it. points to the fact that there is not one birdcage, but two?
Objection!
Oh boy. Alright, here we go. Someone is responsible for the criminal destruction of the kinesis machine itself. It's true. However, the stage still stands. Hey, Del, good to see you. Take a moment to look at the photographic print of the scene following yesterday's explosion. The hole in the middle! The machine is undone? Yes, most likely blown open by the force of the explosion. Oh, no worries, Killer. Good to see you, man. Welcome to the fun of what's going on now. Short version, Killer, just so you're aware on what's happening with this case, since you just joined us. Short version, kinesis machine supposedly happened. This is the victim, O.D. Assman. This is supposedly this is the defendant. And we're now trying to prove, apparently, that this fucker is the one who did it. Because he's a trickster of engineering and a magician. So supposedly the short end is he worked with Assman to basically fake the whole thing. So we're trying to make him be the one. It's this machine, which means that it was you who built the two bird cages that we used to carry out this deception. Hey, who rolled a natural 20 on their check? Whether Professor Hairbrain's hypothesis is sound or not makes no difference. Because it's the construction of this machine that matters. A machine designed to take Mr. Assman's life and lay the blame fairly at the professor's door. Something that could only have been carried out by you, Mr. Enoch Drebber! Oh! Got him.
Objection!
Or not. God damn it. Oh, that's his assistant. That's his new assistant. Oh. Jim would like to crush the what? To hold water. Would that be hold wine in your case? On 2 counts? What's wrong? Firstly, before and after the experiment, the witness went nowhere near the kinesis machine. Every relevant member of staff from the exhibition has been attested to that. Okay, so confirmation. In other words, Mr. Drebber had no opportunity. Burke!
Objection!
I want to explain why he wouldn't have needed to. The nonsense with the crossbow, that doesn't bolster your case at all. The man who disappeared from the stage and the man who crashed into the tower are one and the same. The forensic investigations team report is unequivocal on that point. Fuck! Yeah, I'm trying there. I don't care. It works. Lack of motive? Why would this man have wanted to take the victim's life? He had no reason to do so. Oh yeah, that would help. I have here a contract provided by the contract. Oh, that would be useful. Contract in which Mr. Drebber entered with the victim, Mr. Assman. It reads, Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all remunerations from government grants of other income. In short, I get 30%. Certainly very favorable contractual conditions. But there was one very important provision bolted onto that clause. What provision? Mr. Drebber may only uphold this right on condition that both contracting parties are alive. In other words, if either of us were to die, the contract would become null and void. Fuck! You see, I have nothing to gain from Mr. Assman's death, the diametric opposite, in fact. Fuck! They had a weapon! They had a weapon this whole time! Because it's part of the plan. You don't show your... It's like in any card game. In Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, Poker, Texas Hold'em, you name it. Nobody goes right off the bat for their big ace. You always wait. Which is why me and my lovable Gladiator Beast deck is actually going through a renovation right now. Here's my deck. Just for the record, by the way, what do you guys think of my custom card sleeves? This is the legendary array team of my, like on a beach scenario. So yeah, me, Del, and some close friends that I know. We've got Caitlin, Lena, Maria, Heidi, Shugo, and Kibatsu. Close friends of mine. Hold them nice and true. And of course, they are in the most prized deck that I truly love, and I don't care what anybody says. I love my Gladiator Beasts. Sorry, you're not here to bitch me about this. Also, on a side note, I'm waiting on 2 more cards. Yes, I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! As much, but I would like to at least have a deck so I can mess around with. Those who don't know it, by the way, short version of them. I'm looking for Alpha, the Master of Beasts. That's a good point. Did that piss you off with my time waster deck? No! That is the one I hate! I hate burn decks and things like that. Aeon, what if Mr. Asman no plans to follow through and paying up? Drebber doesn't have 30% but to lose by killing him. Maybe. I do the wave. It seems the defense's assertion was somewhat wide of the mark. Lord Van Zykes, you will submit the contract as evidence, please? Yeah, that would have been helpful from the start. Okay, let's have a look. Okay. Terms of investment. The investor, Mr. Odie Assman, hereby enters into contract with the provider, Mr. Enoch Drebber, to fund labor and materials for the construction of a super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all remunerations from government grants of other income. Mr. Drebber may only uphold this right of condition that both contracting parties are alive, and it's signed with the Assman and Drebber's name. So these two had a contract. These two had a contract with each other, the victim and Drebber. Nothing with our defendant, though. Okay, good to know. Okay. Does Drebber know if there's a birdcage under the stage or the one in the tower? He couldn't have done it, and in any case, I have no idea what his motive might have been. One aspect of your argument that still holds true, however. There were 2 bird cages. The prosecution is unable to deny that. On the right lines, Mr. Naruhodo, and I've no doubt there are other aspects of your assertion that are undeniable truths too. Like what? It seems the defense has no rejoinder to offer. Good. Well, I must say I'm a little surprised. I came here to testify about the machine I built, and instead my reputation is defiled. Yes, Susato came back. But the prosecution's counter has set the record straight, I think. It's impossible that I'm the culprit.
Objection!
Haruhodo, go on! It's true, we believed that there was only 1 birdcage. Yet now we know there must have been 2. In other words, there was more to the demonstration than we realized at first. But what, though? That's what we're trying to figure out. Culprit. Get to the point. The stage demonstration was constructed and set up in its entirety by you, Mr. Drebber. Therefore, it's inconceivable that you had no hand in the events that transpired. Uh-oh. He's serious. I wonder if he knows. So if circumstances mean it's impossible that you could have carried out the crime yourself, It points to the fact that someone else was involved. An accomplice!
Objection!
Ooh, that's a good thought. An accomplice now? Well then, I presume you're prepared for what's to come? Now that you're accusing not only this witness, but someone else of the most serious of crimes. If these accusations turn out to be false, then make no mistake, the prosecution will demand an equally serious punishment for your slander. Fuck! Oh, here we go again. Scare tactics. So, do you intend to pursue this course and formally accuse another party? It's a risk. At the moment, this is a little more than a hunch. I don't know for sure if Drebber had an accomplice or if he's really the culprit. Where do we go with this? Where do we go with this? Thank you, Hannah. Yep, let's double check them. So let's see. So, we've just got the newspaper. This is not useful. This is not useful at all. That's just the thing there. That just talks about Van Sykes' attack, which does nothing to do with this at all. The sketch of the layout. The crossbow, which we've already checked. This is also so Killer gets the idea. The green cloth that was found at the scene. The result of the crime, basically, supposedly, he was crashed through, and that's a stab wound in his chest. We have an autopsy report. Autopsy report, Coroner Courtney Scythe, details of victim Odie Assman, male, 47, British. Time of death, 21st October, around 2:20. Cause of death, hemorrhage of a wound to the chest that pierced the heart inflicted by a sharp implement. Stabby, stabby. A broken vertebra, most likely resulting from impact after a sudden fall from considerable height. So he broke his neck somewhere along the lines. We got the screwdriver here, which we pretty much assume is the thing that's stabbed, because this is obvious. So this looks like the thing that might do it. We have the photograph of the moment it happened that was taken by a witness in a balloon, with an arrow firing towards that balloon as the thing was going off. We have a photograph of Drebble, but that's not really a helpful one. That was helpful to find him. We got the bird cage, which the only thing we can discover is this thing down here to say that it fell on its bottom, not the top, which is what everyone was implying. We got a piece of broken glass that's from the Crystal Tower. We've got a camera, which was from the Waxwork Museum that we instated, but it also had blood on the well, I will do this here so it could be seen. There we go. Just need that there. So yep. So we got blood on there. So that's somehow involved. We got the trophy that, we got a trophy that belonged to Drebble, which was all about basically just him basically saying he's good. We got the waxwork head that was supposedly part of the ransom involved. We got the autopsy report of the person that supposedly the head is a part of. The condemned prisoner, redacted for confidentiality, pseudonym the professor, death by hanging confirmed at midnight, 17th of June, by Courtney Stevens. We've got the site of the explosion of the machine. And then we've got our contract that we just got. What about people-wise? Let's have a look. So we've got Assman, who's our victim. Van Sykes, the masked man. Albert Harebrain, he's the defendant. Gina Lestrade, who, to mention to you now, Killer, is a trainee police officer who's training under Tobias Gregson, who came back. He got his stuff back. Esmeralda to Spell, who works for the Waxwork Museum. She tends to sort of get the most likeness. We got Balthazar Loon, who basically runs the flying balloon services. We've got a Bohemian boy with a long-ass name. In fact, oh, they didn't even give us the first name of him. That's annoying. He was the one who took the photo of the bolt thing going off as the thing was going off. Courtney Scythe, the Scotland Yard coroner, and his long, strong as one maze. And then our boy. Okay. So that's going to be, did Drebla have an accomplice or not? No, he doesn't. Let's see. Let's see. There's gotta be something. What are we missing? Any ideas who you guys think the accomplice might be? If we were to name one? Big shame. What are you guys thinking? Balthazar? The loon guy? Paladin says tumbleweed, thank you. Del says Courtney Scythe. Okay, curious why you think Courtney. Valid point, valid point. Where would he get the balloon? It makes a valid point. Curious why Del said Scythe, though. Don't say because she looks silly. Save it. Plot point, hairlock. Curse on Del's reason. Thing is, Killer can't really help us, because Killer's only just joined us, so might be a little tricky. But we know what we're doing to get back. I am still curious to know why Del said Courtney, though. That's the issue part. Okay, the killer's up. Oh, the killer's a top seat, and the... That's a good point. The killer's a Topsy. Courtney Stevens. The waxwork head was reported there, and it's of the professor. Wait, no. Why would that? Okay, well that's the only bit we got. Yeah, there's no other bit there. You know what? I think we'll do a save. Just for the sake. And we might as well try the ideas. We'll try Balthazar, we'll try Courtney. If not, then we may have got the wrong idea. Let's try it. Somehow the two bird cages must have been switched. Everything points to that. Wait! Wait a minute! Wait a minute! I think Del might be onto something. Think. The bird cage was not there when we first got there, but the forensics team found it and brought it back to the scene of the crime when we got to look at it. That means she's the only one who could have touched it. I think Del might have just got it. Let's give it a try. I was determined. Then I must now ask you to identify this alleged accomplice. Let's try it, because I think Dell might be onto something. Let's try Courtney?
Take that!
Wait, is that... His friend. Surely fear doesn't bind your tongue now. Of course I'm afraid. After all, naming her in this I think Dell was right! Yes, because the birdcage was not there when we first found it. And then when we found the birdcage the second time, it was mentioned by Van Sykes that the birdcage was brought back by the forensic team to the scene of the crime. Courtney is part of the forensic team, so it's possible every single person in this courtroom against me. So it'll be alright. Well, I'm glad you agree, Sasato, because that sounds like you're the only one who will defend me. Was appears larger than life, but you'll appear exactly the same to the enemy. Alright, here goes. You've kept us waiting long enough. Your answer. Let's do it. The person who colluded Dr. Dreminor to carry this wicked crime. Coroner. What the blazes? The head of forensic. Booyah! We know there were 2 bird cages, so who could have carried out the switch to complete the illusion? I think Dell might have actually got it right! Yeah, that's the issue part. Where the fuck do we go with this, though? But this is supposedly right. Then everyone, police forces included, were banished to make way for the forensic investigation team. When else could the switch have occurred? It could only have been in that team's presence. Essential, the court determines exactly what happened following the incident. The defense demands that Dr. Seif be summoned to the stand to testify. The magician is there, scientist there, she's still eating, the policeman's asleep. You got a nerve, lad? Standing up there, drinking the odds net? Oh, no. I knew this was happening. A dead room worker out there. Uh-oh. My learned friend's imagination appears to be wilder than the East End at night. I like that. But the recklessness of your accusation aside, there's another grave problem with your argument. Oh no. Yeah, I got a feeling of summation's coming up myself. Once. Uh-oh. Yep, here we go. Who do you claim acted as the victim's doppelganger? Yep, here we go. The birdcage containing the body of the victim was exchanged for another. That cage must have also contained a body. Which means no missing persons or accidental deaths of anyone even remotely resembling. Fuck! I think this is where our waxwork connection kicks in. My argument is that there were 2 bird cages, then there must also have been 1 person inside each. But I don't know if I've got an answer to this yet, have I? What can I do to reveal how this body stump was doubled? Name someone, evidence. We can't name someone because I don't think there's a body double. It's gotta... The only thing... Yeah, well here's the thing. Drebber wanted to keep hold of this. He was after this head. Pun intended. It's gotta be this. It's gotta be the evidence. An evidence that reveals the true nature of this ass's body double. Good gracious, evidence? I do hope this isn't filibustering, counsel. The court is expecting a name. If you think you have relevant evidence, present it now. The body double and the birdcage were hiding inside the balloon that was floating above the stage, which means that any witnesses would only have seen them from 60 feet away. So who was it that appeared out of the explosion some 18 meters above the spectators? We can try. The body double inside the birdcage was... Take that!
Take that!
Got it. Yep, there we go. The birdcage was situated inside the kinesis on stage, and therefore he wouldn't have been inside the second birdcage. Instead, that contained something else. What's been described as a body double, which is what fell from the sky and crashed into the Scriddle Tower. Yes, Counsel. Let's see. And that body double inside the second birdcage was in fact a waxwork. Oh! He stumbled. Steal yourself and come out with... Hey, I just realized! He's trying to hold his nerve in all these times with the sword. Would that make him a steel samurai? I needed that. Yeah, you do, Shakis! Saying the body double inside the second birdcage was, as unbelievable as it may seem... wait, what? Wait, what? What is that doing here?
Objection!
Chief, the puns you have to make. Sheesh! Open your eyes and look into mine, my Nipponese friend. Now tell me, what are you playing at? Stand firm now, Ryunosuke. This is the time to show your Japanese spirit. Yeah, before he becomes one. As the court will observe, this is a waxwork model. Oh. A model, in fact, of an infamous London murderer from 10 years ago, the Professor.
Objection!
You started by indicating the leader of the forensic investigation team as an accomplice in this crime, and now you've moved on to indicating waxworks. Yes, that's about the size of it. But why? And why this waxwork? The victim, in fact, it could hardly resemble him less. What possible justification can you give? Yeah, that's a good question. Mr. Drebber. Ha ha ha! What? Just days before Professor Harebrain performed his public demonstration, Mr. Drebber abducted this model from Madame Tuspel's. Did you say abducted? And 2 days after the incident of the Great Exhibition, he returned it to the museum. Then the timing. Is this true, Mr. Drebber? Yeah, true. I mean, remember the first game? We got a parrot. Also, I'm sorry about my light, by the way. I'm really sorry. Normally, I have like a spotlight, like a sort of 3-stage lamp next to me, but unfortunately, it's only got one bulb, and I'm a little worried all the power's gone into it, so it might go boom. So, you know. Now the reason is clear. Took it so he could put it inside the second birdcage as a body double. Ah! So they put it in the cage that fell, and then she made the switch. Oh no. Uh-oh. Bright bulb. With the potential to see him some wretched things. That he did so in collusion with the country's finest coroner on a public stage in front of a vast audience. Uh-oh. I think you were right about the summation. Really to believe this far-fetched tale? Fuck. Yes, if you put it like that, of course it sounds implausible. Oh no! Here we go! Oh no. Go on. Give us it. Go on. What voices do we have this time?
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. I thought she was going to use the con to smack the button. And there we go. Consensus. I knew that was going to happen. There's Mr. Naruhodo, as we always do. Yeah. Here we go. Summation examination time. So we'll now embark on a summation examination. Are you and your fellows ready to proceed, Mr. Foreman? We are, my lord. I mean, this is probably the most sensible one, because they're not really being dumb in my news. Alright, here we go. Judicial findings. Let's do it. The jurors' contentions. Oh, shit! Started with number 6! Oh, started with number 6! It's utter nonsense. It's utter nonsense. Oh dear, this is most troubling. But surely the waxwork the man stole has nothing to do with the coroner, is it? I have had my own problems with members of the police. I do not trust them much. I sense no rigorous proof that this waxwork was ever inside the birdcage. It's a conjecture. Accusing someone without right evidences is not a proper job, is he? I won't have it. Oh, okay. So the fact we couldn't present everything was the little girl's judgment. Alright. Judicial. Thank you. Sorry, judicial. I thought it was judicial. No one knows, see? I can only applaud my learned friend's temerity at suggesting us as Mr. Asmund's body double. Yes, the applause is deafening. And yes, I know it seems extraordinary. But that's the point. That's why I have strong feelings. It's actually a greater clue than anyone realizes. Yeah, because why would Drebber use it? It looks like there's a specific reason why it was used. Why it had to be this model? Really? A reason why nothing else would do me? I'm convinced it's something far more significant than whether or not the model looked like the victim. If that's the case, we must prevent the child from ending prematurely at all costs. I have to find a way out of this. Alright, here we go! Let's do it! We just gotta remember, it starts with number 6 this time. It starts with number 6. I've known that woman for years. She'd never be an accomplice to anything.
Hold it!
So check it. The order of things seems to have changed around here for some reason. I'm a copper, lad. It's a copper's discretion to bend the rules sometimes when needs must, and you're not helping the police's case by mentioning that. What's wrong with that? Where do I start? I've been working at the yard for 40-odd years. That's even more than I thought. We've only had a Metropolitan Police Service in town for 70 years, you know. Of course, times have changed. The public didn't trust coppers back when I started. It was rough. Yeah, imagine that random when the police services start. You're coming with me. Why? Because I'm the police. Ha ha ha! You're funny. What's the police? We had to fight crime and we had to fight to win the public's trust as well. And when we did, forensic science was in infancy too, even more than it is now. And she spearheaded the revolution. Dr. Seif, you mean? That's right. About 10 years ago now it was, when I was still a youngish Bobby on the beat. That's when she started making a name for herself as a top-class coroner. And now look at her, head of the forensic investigation team. And a woman, no less. Well, you want to hear me complain? That's what I would do back there, I tell you. Yeah, true. So we can turn that around on that one. Full of vim. That's coming across loud and clear. So those two would ever be conviving.
Hold it!
Alright. We're only just starting to understand this case. I'd laugh if he pulled it. What are you reading there, sir? The man behind those murders on Solar Pond Street was caught in 2 days flat. That's real policing for you. That's really not relevant to this case, is it? You're wrong there. Because it was Dr. Seifert. Oh! Evidence arising from what led to the arrest. Interesting. So she keeps coming back up in this. That's right. Oh, that woman is at the forefront of this country's fight against crime. The idea that she's somehow involved in this murky business is a load of old tosh. Thank you for bringing the word tosh into the American language. Because the jurors, not the other way around. Oh dear, this is the most troubling, but surely the waxwork demands has nothing to do with the coroner, is it?
Hold it!
Why would you assume that? Let's see. Well, quite simply because that unsettling swindler has no relationship with the woman, does he? True. As it stands, we don't know any of any connection. Oh gosh, but it would be delightfully romantic if there was some type of mutual interest in the waxwork. Romantic? A woman in society such as myself views everything in terms of relationships, you know. Okay, well, that's a way. Well, you learn something new every day, even if you don't want to. One might wonder about a possible relationship between the defendant and his coroner woman. Or perhaps between the defendant and the handsome prosecutor just there. This woman may be more astute than I've been given her credit for. If that woman's as demonstrating some connection between the waxwork and Dr. Seif would be enough. Okay, we need to find a connection between those two. I have had my own problems with members of the police. I do not trust them much. Okay, this has to be a trigger. What are problems? Well, let's just say we have run into each other on numerous occasions while I've been performing on the street. So, in other words, performing without permit. Obviously, artists such as myself cannot appear on stage as we work in close proximity to our audiences. So we perform our great magic in parks, on street corners, and the like. But the police use any excuse.
Not in my day.
There we go. Not in my day. Excuse me. There we go. There's our trigger. Alright. Who you calling a mass murderer? Sorry, my mistake. I got confused because I heard you look like him. I don't look like anything like the man you want to be locked up, Sonny. Thanks, Mr. Sholmes. We can move on. I was really wondering if you had something you wanted to add in response to what juror number 3 just said. And clearly you do, as you spin the gun. Back in my day, back in the good old days, it was a like... Hey, Gregson's theme. Worked our fingers to the bone to earn the public's trust, we did. And by Jove, we earned it. People respected us back then. Yeah, it is a matter, yeah. No one would have called a coroner into question in them days. Coroner's report was the hallmark of investigation done right, especially when Dr. Courtney Stevens put a name to it. Aha! There's the name. There's the name again. There's the name. Best of the best, and the apple of the forces.
Hold it!
Hold on a minute. There we go. Wrong name. Stevens. Ah, sorry. Got a bit carried away there. Stevens is Dr. Seif's maiden name. Ah, her maiden name. So that was before she was married. Of course, yes. Silly me. It's Seif now, isn't it? Stevens. I'm sure I've seen that name. There's the proof. Anyway, the point is, those were the great days of policing, not like now. Oh, sir? Well, do you think you could change your statement to include that name? Well, yes, I don't see why not. Stevens back when I knew her, of course, the legendary coroner. Picked! Okay, so this has to be one. The waxwork the man has stolen. There we go. There's the connection.
Objection!
There's the connection! Oh, gracious. Due counsel. So, juror number 2. Oh gosh, me? What can I do for you? I presume that you heard what juror number 6 said in his statement. It's broader than... Yep, there we go. And has revealed a connection that wasn't apparent before. Well, naturally, as a woman of society, I find such connections and relationship irresistible. But, oh golly, I'm afraid I fail to see what you mean. Dr. Sife's middle name is Stevens, and through that name, the coroner is very definitely linked to the waxwork of the killer. The defense has evidence to prove it. Here we go, here's the proof. Enthralling. Here we go, this is now where we present that autopsy report. It's clear as Dr. Sife. This one! Take that!
Take that!
There we go. Years ago. A 10-year-old autopsy report? What relevance does that have? It is, of course, from the autopsy of the person portrayed in the waxwork. The killer known as the Professor. I think this is now in his mind going, what? That's right. This is a certification of death that was drawn up after the convict's execution. Hopefully. The killer was never made public, so the report gives few details, but what's important is the name of the coroner who wrote it. Courtney Stevens. Oh my! Courtney Stevens?
Strike a light!
It appears that the professor's autopsy was conducted by Dr. Sife 10 years ago, and a few days ago, Mr. Drebber very deliberately stole the waxwork of the professor. A waxwork that doesn't in fact resemble the victim of Mr. Assman at all. And do you suppose there's some unsavory relationship between those events? Absolutely, I'm sure of it. There's no doubt in my mind that the professor case is at the heart of a link that we've yet to uncover. Between Dr. Courtney Sife and Enoch Drebber! Yeah, hopefully that does. Links, mysterious connections, secret relationships. This is almost extraordinary. There we go! Go, girl! There's one! We still need 3 more.
Quite right. We can't let this trial come to an end now. Not while there's this cloud of suspicion hanging over the yard's best coroner. It wasn't like this in my day, but we're still here to uphold justice in the end.
Well, at least he's honest. Good on you, good man. Good on you. That's 2. That's what makes the fight with Swindler. There we go. Oh, I want to see what he says now. Yeah, clearly. Alright, so let's find out where we're missing. So we've got the 3rd. Now for the other one. Number 4. Hey.
That I did, but there's more than one way to pull a rabbit out of a hat, isn't there?
Sorry?
I grant you, given that this cage appeared from amidst an explosion, there'd be no need to use a real person. If a waxwork had been used, the culprit could have at least invented the decency to make it look like the victim.
I'm not sure exactly how much criminals are governed by decency.
The point is, if you're gonna make a claim about waxwork being inside the birdcage, you need to give us some evidence. Without that, it's just not science.
I suppose we should expect nothing less than a logical argument from a fellow of the Royal Society. I mean, yeah, we should have expected that. And if we manage to present suitable evidence... Evidence that the Professor Waxwork was inside the birdcage. Can I produce that? Let's have a look, can we? Yes, we can! Look! Small fragment of unusual thick glass was found in the folds of the clothing of the Professor Waxwork. So why does the Professor Waxwork have a glass piece in it? Actually, I have something I'd like you to see, sir.
Oh? I must warn you that I firmly believe it's only wise to trust men in white coats. So given your jet black outfit, I don't mind admitting to a sense of trepidation here.
So you don't trust anyone in black? Looking in the mirror must be very trying, says the guy we're now wearing a DLC costume. Some evidence that proves the waxwork was indeed the birdcage, namely, the glass piece. Take that! Come on. There we go.
What's that? A piece of glass? Though it's unusually thick for glass.
Yes, a piece of broken glass that we found inside the jacket of the waxwork. As you say, it's not ordinary glass, though. It's very thick and clearly made for extra strength. A special glass that was developed for the construction of the Crystal Tower.
The Crystal Tower! Holy smoke!
Exactly, said it. There we go. By the way, those of you who are Pokemon Go players, hope you're having a good time with the recent Oshawott event. I know I did! I got the load of shiny Oshawotts, I got the shiny Mew at the end of it all, and while that event was going on, I managed to get shiny Uxie! Just missing shiny as Elf! Americans, give me your fucking help! Fell from above and smashed through a window. That's special glass. There we go. Small piece originated. Is that it? Precisely. So, what do you say? Now that clear evidence to support the assertion has been placed before you!
Well, as I said, I only trust men in white coats as a rule. However, when the reasoning is sound, it's fair to say colour shouldn't come into it.
Well, at least you're honest and racism has now been destroyed.
To what you've shown me here, yes, I feel obliged to change my position on the matter.
Oh! Number 4. Is that not guilty? No? Okay. Statement. So we still have to pit it.
The presence of that piece of glass leaves me in a little doubt that the waxwork was indeed in Birdcage.
So without right evidence, it's not proper job.
That's gotta be it! It's gotta be 4 and 5!
Because this is like accusing someone without right evidences, but this has the right evidence because this is talking about the police. Though to conniving with one another, we've already connected that, so it's gotta be by logical proceedings. It's gotta be these two.
Objection.
There we go! Hopefully that'll do it!
The statements you refer, counsel. If you could put down your corn for a moment, juror number 5. Oh, you mean me? You've pointed out that it's wrong to make an accusation without evidence. But the accusation the waxwork model was inside the second birdcage of the day in question is not without supporting evidence, as the events demonstrated to the juror sitting beside you. Oh, is that right? She didn't pay attention. Would it be fair to say you didn't follow the argument? I don't understand much besides Colonel Cobb, to be honest. In short, stomach is the way to go. Of course you don't.
If I could interject here.
Yeah, I like the ding. Please do, sir.
Now that this assertion of yours about the waxwork has been backed up by some solid evidence, it would be wrong of me as a man of science not to pursue the matter further.
Well, I mean, science says the realism is there. Alright, we're back in the middle. Well, me too then. Sorry? If this brainy gentleman says he's right, then he must be. See? I wouldn't dream of going against Colonel Cobb or any— Oh dear. There we go! If you can call it that. There we go! Got him! So the summation, we will carry on! So where the fuck does it go now? Yep. The trial must continue. There we go. See? I is smirked. Even though that last one was a bit obvious. Okay, so where do we go now? We gotta get her involved, I think. Let's say it's extremely hard to believe the assertion could possibly be true. However, it would appear that it does at least warrant further investigation. The waxwork of the professor links Mr. Drebber to Dr. Scythe. And there's a special significance to that link.
I don't know what you're hoping to prove, lad. I really don't.
Truth, sir, by using evidence and testimony. If the court is to delve deeper into the alleged involvement of the waxwork in this case, then the prosecution calls for the owner. We're going with the We're going with spell. We're going with Madam to spell. We're going for the waxwork owner. I thought that Lord Van Sykes would object to this whole line of inquiry. What's going on with Van Sykes? He's being cooperative. Kinda. effect. Listen carefully, my learned friend. Oh, yes? You should know that you're on the brink of opening Pandora's box. Charming, because we're bringing Scythe in. Summon the new witness and prepare her for taking the stand. Here we go. Madam Two Spells. Yes, I shall see to it at once, my lord. Let's bring in the witch. And a checkpoint. Okay. Cool. Got it. How you guys enjoying the game, by the way? You guys enjoying the show? Especially for bits of everybody. Alright. I'm just gonna go grab a drink of water. Professor K says more to this course than what meets the eye. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, too. The question, I mean, to sum up, Killer, because you're a bit out of this and such, the Professor case, the Professor is the one who actually killed Van Sykes' older brother. So, there's that bit of hatred. That's the only connection we've got to this whole thing, so, you know what that means. By case 5, it will have relevance. More than we like to admit. That's alright, finish up normal. True. Sorry. Do-ba-da-doo. Shoo-boop-ba-da-doo. Well, glad to know you guys are enjoying the show. Thank you so much. And if you're new here and you like it, then smash the like button. Or whatever word you can think of. Alright. Let's rock this. Hey, just before lunchtime. Juror number 5 can carry on with more corn. Ah, the knight errant himself. Oh, have you been watching from the gallery, Mr. Sholmes? I've been on the edge of my seat the entire time. Courtroom trials are fascinating affairs, as a spectator at least. I'm glad you've been enjoying yourself. Oh, Airbrain! I have to ask. What on earth is going on? It makes no sense! What's this professor business all about? He doesn't look like any professor I've met before! Who even is he? Of course. You were in Germany already 10 years ago. Yes, the professor. When I discovered he was the one who had been abducted, I sensed a foreboding stirred within me. But who knew the monster would come knocking at your door? My heartfelt sympathies. Ha 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 ha! Yeah, well, wherever you're watching this, smash that like and hit the follow button. Tyke's is even more intimately tied to this case than any of us realized, isn't he? Yes, how true. his great friend from university on the dock.
And now a waxwork of the killer who took his esteemed brother's life makes an appearance.
Good question.
Mr. Reaper failed to foresee that kick in the teeth. An extraordinary move on your part, my dear fellow, to throw that in front of the man. You make it sound deliberate.
I can't help feeling that this professor case is really very puzzling. A professor case puzzling. Gee, I wonder why you put those words together. I can't possibly figure out why. That's not important. No problem. Don't worry. Just like that idea. Here we go. Have a penny for your thought. Or in this case, have a coin. In coin. Yeah, on the side note, I found a quarter. Yeah, see, I found a proper quarter. In which case, I'm already 25 cents towards my next trip. Seems that everybody in the trial has a link to the case somehow. Yes, in fact, I alone am not a member of the set. Though that leaves me as an empty set, all alone with no intersection to any other. Huh?
We're gonna die. We're gonna die. We're gonna die. We're gonna die. We're gonna die.
Scythe, oh, hello. Oh no, we're dead. We're so dead. Dr. Courtney Scythe, nee Stevens.
Good day to you.
Hello, Sholmes. That was very shrewd of you. What in particular, pray? You requested that 10-year-old autopsy report from Gregson, didn't you? Why would you assume such a thing?
Because Gregson Oh!
Gregson! Uh-oh. To think it's been 10 years. 10 years in the laboratory, wielding my scalpel. I smell of nothing but corpses and disinfectant. The policeman on the jury had a lot to say about you, as it happens, Dr. Scythe. And I've accused you of being complicit in what happened. I'm hoping that you'll take the stand and tell the truth about what really happened. That certainly won't be possible. Lord Van Sykes won't be summoning me as a witness. Lord Strongheart is... Oh! Strongheart negated her! You were warned about is the Professor case, but please don't make the mistake of thinking you'll get any information about it out of me. Fucking hell! Strongheart, what are you doing? There's more to this. Why do I have a feeling my hunch was right? Strongheart, what the fuck are you doing? May I see fit. I have no regrets, none at all. And that's all I came here to say. So, good day to you. Shit. It's gotta be Strongheart at the end. Door's box. Whatever does it all mean? There's really no cause for concern, I assure you. It's gotta. But we'll find out. All too apparent whether you'd like it or not. Now then, I believe it's almost time. I must make my way back to the public gallery. The edge of my seat awaits. I think maybe you're enjoying yourself a little too much. Ah yes, one word of warning before I go. If in the course of this trial this afternoon you perceive even a shadow of doubt about the truth, don't let it out of your sight. Pursue it like a dog with a bone. To the bitter end, you understand. Do not falter, whatever may come to pass. Wait, Eon? What's up? Good. I shall make myself scarce then. I purchased a bar of caramel. Oh, god damn it. Sholmes' caramel. Yes, he did. Drebber did know something. Alright, to sum up what we know so far, Killer, just so you're aware of this. The short version we got so far is the following. The Waxwork I think we're about to get well, I'll tell you what. Let's see if we can find a... let's see if we can get our lovely lady to bring this out. Maybe. Let's find out what's going on. What's going on? Chapter then. I'm determined to find the truth. And I say, hey, 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 hey. I said, hey, what's going on? Mission getting out, so where do we go here? Oh, there's that bloody corpse again.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of the court. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready and able to continue?
The prosecution is ready, my lord. Yes, my lord. The defense is also ready.
As the court is aware, the case under our scrutiny began with damaging incident at the Great Exhibition. And yet we find ourselves embroiled in the details of a convicted felon who was sent to the gallows a decade ago.
Oh, no worries, killer. Alright. Seems as to be the fate of all trials in which this Nipponese is involved, my lord.
So then, let us begin our exploration of the defense's assertion that the waxwork was cardinally involved in this matter. Van Sykes? Oh, here we go. Waiting the arrival of Madame Tuspel? Not at all. She's at the antechamber as we speak and ready to be summoned. So we've got our lovely lady. Madame Tuspel's to the stand. More intense. If Trevor's responsible, I'm sure he is. It means he must have had an accomplice. This waxwork's involved, but what? This waxwork's related. We have to find out what it is. She's making shows. Name and occupation for the court, please. My name is Madame Esmeralda Tuspels. I am a waxwork artisan and the proprietress of the Madame Tuspels Museum of Waxwork. You will have to pardon me for working as I testify. My new exhibit must open very soon. Oh, so he finally gets a statue, does he? Now there are two of them in the world. Oh my, what expression is she carving onto that face? A number of days ago, a particular waxwork model was stolen from your museum. Can you confirm this? Oui, that is true. At first, we believed it had been kidnapped. A waxwork model kidnapped? Oh, yes, my lord. There was a demand for ransom money left behind by the culprits. However, according to what I've just been told outside the courtroom, that was not the true reason. I understand it was utilized as a substitute for the body of a murder victim. At present, that is no more than conjecture proposed by the defense. Fuck! That's right, label us! Here's a question only asked me. But of course, I know him well. He is a part of my odious personages exhibit. I detest to say what that is evident, but Master Asman does not resemble the professor at all. Perhaps their faces are very similar. Uh-oh. Are you suggesting that we should see now the demasked visage of the professor? Boof! The key? Don't know what face you've carved onto the fancy figure beneath the mask. But clearly it won't be that of the actual killer. Man's identity was never made public, after all. Trial took place in a closed court. The proceedings were strictly confidential. The condemned man was summarily executed. His identity remains a closely guarded national secret. No possible way... Hang on a second. Oh, Hannah's working on the artwork as we speak. Oh, she's done she's done Thean. Sweet. Quel dommage.
Let's see. Condemn mouse amazing. It would seem you are unaware of the two spells principles. The principles of getting it right at the scene of the crime. Two Spells has always prided itself on sculpting its models à la perfection. Every detail, including the visage, is fashioned with complete fidelity. Et voila, our principles. Spells waxworks from the time of the French Revolution. A member of the Two Spells family is said to have made a waxwork of the Queen who was executed. Oui, that is true. It is a century ago now. I believe the Queen's face was carved in the minutes following her death, actually, at the guillotine. Ooh! You are correct. The model is on display still today in the House of Horrors. We Two Spells will stop at nothing to obtain a faithful replica of our subjects.
Dear me, a somewhat disturbing tenacity of purpose.
For some reason, I made the judge sound like Vegeta.
My, Kakarot, your defense is lacking. I sentence you to Galagon!
And it has been my family's secret for generations. Do you mean to say that beneath that mask? The true visage of the killer is there. This is ludicrous.
It's out of the question!
The professor spread terror throughout Great Britain.
The Kamehameha objection!
Emerging from his own grave, it is a sight to behold. You should come.
I think, madam, it would be beneficial to hear your formal testimony on this matter. You will explain every detail of this macabre model and your personal involvement in its creation.
With pleasure.
Alright, Two Spell. What have you got for us?
A special exhibit in the House of Horrors is based on a rumor that shocked society in London. The impression of the visage was taken directly from the corpse, in accordance with the Two Spells family principles. I enlisted the aid of the gravedigger and created a mold for the head in the cemetery just before the interment. Oh! I hid myself until he gave the signal. I was there for a very long time that night. As dawn approached, I was very worried I could be discovered.
So she was there! She was there!
Outdoors necessary to achieve the true resemblance my family celebrated for. Nobody else knew, only the gravedigger. What harm did it do, huh?
So she does know!
Naturally, I was aware at the time that his identity was a secret. But Two Spells would not be Two Spells if we did not insist on absolute fidelity to our sculptures.
I don't believe this. I myself have seen the special exhibit at your museum, madam. A truly blood-curdling scene in which the murderer is emerging from his own grave.
The scene it depicts was the subject of many rumors in London 10 years ago. I have here a newspaper from the time.
Oh!
Oh. Oh my god, I love that is full English.
Wait a minute! Guys, look! Under the picture! Under the picture! Look! That's Asmon's sting!
That is Asmon! That's Asmon's signature!
He has a key in this! Look! That's his signature! No, not just the camera! I meant Asmon's signature!
Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh shit, oh fuck! So what's Asmon gotta do with this?
The grave is too absurd for words. I don't know. We'll have to check this as we go.
The absurdity, monsieur. That is why I've reproduced the scene as carefully as possible in my museum.
Works for that exhibit that was stolen some days before the incident of the Great Exhibition.
That is correct. The professor you see before you here.
So she knows the face. The cross-examination. This waxwork links Drebber to Dr. Scythe, and there has to be some reason for that which hasn't come to light. Alright. Let's do it! Are they connected, though? Let's rock! A special exhibit in the House of Horrors is based on a rumor that shocked society.
Hold it!
And that rumor would be
a 10-year-old tale now, but one that no Londoner would ever forget.
Alright, I know just what you're talking about, I think.
Of course, it couldn't be anything else.
Yes, that story will never disappear.
The tale of the condemned killer rising from the dead. That is the central attraction of my House of Horrors. The rumor was whispered all over the city, and it was like this.
Ah! Typical. Killer disappears when it's needed.
Lowgate Cemetery burned the prison the dead of night of the execution of the killer. The interred professor slid back the stone slab covering his tomb and emerged from his grave. A young man who witnessed this felt a scream welling up inside him. But an instant later, he heard an ear-splitting gunshot from over his shoulder. The bullet struck the emerging corpse, and he fell motionless once more.
A gun!
Away from the mouth of the young witness, who turned and ran for his life.
So, supposedly the body came up from the ground, he saw that, and then got shot! I have returned from the dead.
Nobody knows, even today. But remember, it was just a rumor. Perhaps nothing more than a ghost story. The good people of London, they love stories like this. But that's why it was in every newspaper across the capital.
I'm not sure that's the reason they liked it. Charles Darwin. Wait a minute. Wait, hang on. What are the other stories on there? Was the Baal mask to blame for the Great Blaze? The Great Stink, Parliament is to finally address the foul issue. Mad Sheep Rampage, Unexplained Phenomenon, Griggs Oxfordshire region. Circumstances which folded sheep. Charles Darwin to receive Coppola Medal. This is ridiculous. I love this. I love that they actually put the time into this. They actually went and did an English story of the whole thing. Oh god, that's a thought. Buried alive? Maybe.
Afterwards, the concert article Madam, might I say something? Please go ahead, mademoiselle. When something is described as a rumor, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's entirely made up. I believe that often rumors contain elements of the truth. Ah, I see that people from the East can be just as astute as the people of Europe. Can we be sure, for instance, that the professor's execution was successful?
I mean,
not possible for the dead to come back to life.
Let me tell you why that story is going to be wrong in about a few hundred years.
10 years ago, I was there in Lowgate Cemetery after the criminal known as the Professor was killed by hanging. I took a wax impression of his visage from the corpse just before it was interred. So I can assure you, the man was dead.
So 100% dead. Yeah, the condemned man suffered the intended fate, so he definitely died by hanging. That's 100% true.
Corpse in accordance with the True Spouse family principles.
Hold it!
Is that true in every waxwork in your museum, then? It is, assuming the subject is dead, of course. But subjects have to cooperate in a similar way. I have letters for imprisoned criminals all the time, you know.
Letters to get them done?
When my time comes, please make me a waxwork of me. Comme ça? No. My museum is famous, monsieur. Monsieur, to be made into a waxwork is an honor, and for some criminals, a symbol of status.
You know, some people would like to be turned into a statue.
I mean, in some way, maybe. Nothing harming a criminal better than wax. Thanks to one killer in particular that my museum has gained such popularity. The professor. Yep. You came to catch it, so she knows it, though. That's the issue. She knows this. So, I mean, in a weird way, she could actually be the accomplice in disguise. I mean, she knows the face, so it could be easy to turn around and go to him and go, hey, guess what? Give it. I mean, it's possible, right? It would seem the proprietress of this repository of novelties was blinded by monetary greed. It had nothing to do with money. The man is part of London's criminal history, which is why I had to sculpt him, to record this history. So in short, you could say she's like an archivist, which is quite nice. It is the raison d'etre of the To-Spell Museum. But if the man was convicted in a closed court and sent for immediate execution, then surely nobody but the members of the judiciary present know the killer's true identity. I assure you, behind that mask is hidden the true face of the professor.
Do you realize what you're saying? The professor's identity is a national secret!
I understand. And now that the truth about the special exhibit has been revealed, it must perhaps close.
Of course it will. As will your entire museum if you don't tread very carefully, Madam Fuck!
That could be another interesting chapter in the history of my family, I think, don't you?
Moving on!
Impression. So, confirmed she took the wax. Oui, exactement. I have to bring out every French I know. I hid myself until he gave me a signal. Okay. You were there longer than you expected to be?
I had some difficulties in catching something small as I removed
the mask. The mouth of the cadaver fell open, and I had some problems with the gin. Dare I ask? The man had been dead for a short while already, you see.
Oh, fuck! She actually touched the body. Completely.
Oh dear, what a horrible thought.
Can we go to the confectionery stand, everybody?
An assistant with me. However, that night I was alone, and as a consequence I missed my preferred window of time.
What do you mean?
When I take the impression of the visage of a cadaver, I always wait until 3 hours after death.
Why 3 hours? That's actually really good. Is that amount significant?
It is because of
rigor mortis! Wriggly mortis? No, rigor mortis!
Sasato, if you would. Bloody hell. To a phenomenon that occurs in recently deceased bodies. As a rule, 3 hours post-death, the muscles in the body begin to stiffen.
In short, they turn into like a statue to say, this is it. I'm done.
10 hours post-death, the entire body is completely rigid and inflexible. They revert to their relaxed state. The effect is often used to estimate the time of death when a body is discovered. Well, that was an education, if a slightly scary one. As the mademoiselle says, rigor mortis commences 3 hours after death, and it starts in the jaw.
I see. So that's why you wait.
Before that time, the mouth falls open, and it is very difficult to do my work.
Ugh, it's getting hard for me to do my work with all this talk of corpses. That's gotta be significant. That's gotta be significant, but why?
Formal testimony, I believe it could be significant, you see. Of course, I do not mind at all. I can't help feeling that after this latest topic, the atmosphere in the courtroom has become extremely grave.
Oh, this is no time for jokes, Mrs. It wasn't a bad joke. I liked it. Thank God Killer wasn't here with a frying pan.
Bien sûr. It took me a very long time because it was before the onset of rigor mortis. So, rigor mortis was 3 hours. Let's have a look. Death by hanging confirmed at midnight, 17th of June. Wait, it's got to be an old piece of history, so this has to do with this, right?
Objection.
There we go! So I have a notice autopsy report that was... This is the only thing I could think of, because it had to be a 10-year thing, and I don't think this and the newspaper would have helped. I don't think the newspaper would have helped. And is that a problem? I believe it is, because your testimony and a particular detail in the report completely contradict one another. Okay? Are you going to explain yourself, my Nipponese friend? According to a testimony, Madame Tuspel was creating her wax impression just before dawn. And at that time, rigor mortis had not set in. Am I correct so far, madam? You are, yes. As I said, the stiffening of the jaw is the first sign of rigor mortis 2 to 3 hours after death. But in the man's chin was limp, so he couldn't have been dead for a long time. But on the other hand, if you look at Dr. Safe's report, it was midnight. So if it's just before dawn, that would be like 6 hours. Hanging at midnight, 17th of June. No! If the professor indeed died at midnight that day, then by the time you were sculpting his face, rigor mortis would have already set in. Oui, yes, you are right. The chin, it would have been completely stiff. In other words, this report is wrong.
Objection.
No coroner makes mistakes when recording the time of death. That very idea is absurd. In that case, there's only one possible conclusion, because Courtney Stevens wrote it. Yeah. Oh! Impossible! Oh God, it didn't actually happen? Indicate the author of the report not decide for you employed members of staff of Barclay Prison when the execution... Ah, Barclay, thank you for at least bringing my bank involved. Or at least a bank. Extraordinary! Not in my day!
Objection.
My learned friend appears to have overlooked one very crucial fact. Oh, here we go. The professor died that night, without question. He did, of course he did. I moved the man's limp jaw with my own hands. There was...
Objection.
Yes, the professor died that night, but what if he didn't die at the gallows? The gunshot! You insane? What exactly are you suggesting did happen at the case? It's almost impossible to believe, but it would explain the link between Dr. Seif, the professor, and the one other person of interest. That's exactly what I'm suggesting. The evidence that allegedly explains what really happened on the night of the execution. It's gotta be the article. It's gotta be the article. Because it's the only thing from back then. Yep, there we go. The criminal returns in the dead of night at local cemetery. You're suggesting it was a corpse coming back from the dead now? Well, if this article is to be believed, yes. The professor, assumed dead following his execution, emerged from his grave and was killed again.
Objection.
Don't be a fool, that's simply a rumor published by the gutter press. Can you be certain of that? Are you serious? The point is, as the article says, there was a witness to what happened. My word, yes indeed. Mais oui, the young man who stole into the cemetery by chance that night.
Objection.
And now to bring out his name again. But obviously the man made it all up. And in any case, this was 10 years ago now. There would surely be no hope of finding him.
Objection.
We know better. We all know this witness well. What? This is now where he's in trouble. We know who to bring in this. Trevor. He's right here before my very eyes. It's Van Sykes. Your latest claim now, counsel. Who is the alleged witness of this staggering scene? We all know who it is. Drebber! Take that! Enoch Drebber! Drebber? The previous witness? The special exhibit in the House of Horrors at Manitou Spells of Waxwork recreates the decade-old scene in great detail. Oh, we're about to see that fucking face again. Oh, I don't want to see this face again. And beside the tomb, a young man with a lantern stumbling upon the terrifying sight. The spotlight. Sholmes, you with this? Younger Mr. Enoch Drebber! Booyah!
Order, order, order! Surely not, counsel!
Drebber was there in Lowgate Cemetery. What is this talk about Mr. Drebber? Is the name significant? Of course, Manitou Spells doesn't know, does she? Okay, confirmation. She's not involved. Why would she not know? Situation as well, in fact. What situation? The theft of the Professor Waxwork from your museum some days ago was perpetrated by the very same man. No, but that would mean... Madam to Spells, it would appear you know the name Enoch Drebber. Does she? Yes, I know it, but from long ago in the past. Oh!
She knows the name? Hello? What we got? What we got? What we got? What we got?
Okay, what we got? Go on, give us the goods. The story of the young man and the terrible sight he witnessed in the cemetery 10 years ago was published in every single newspaper in London and throughout Great Britain. However, in all of the articles, the witness was simply described as a certain young man. No details were published about his identity. His name was never revealed. That is, apart from in one newspaper. The Daily Circus. It is the paper from which comes the article I've already shown the court. His full name was only publicized in that article?
Yes, here it is. The university student who experienced this shocking event is Mr. Enoch Drebber, a disciple of the science at University of London and a resident of its student dorms. Fuck!
Read the article. I went to meet with the man. Yeah, oh, there it is! There it is! Yeah, you can see it! Yeah, you can see it! Look! Down here! Enoch Drebber! Okay, well, I guess that's how you should have found that out, I guess. Make a perfect exhibit for my House of Horrors, whether it was the truth or not. I see. So you went to meet Mr. Drebber in order to sculpt the waxwork, did you? Exactement. He was studying science at the University of London in those days, which is a poor student. I paid him £5 to model for the waxwork, and since that time it has been in my museum to recreate the scene of terror from the cemetery. So she actually met him! Oh, Drebber! Come out and play! 10 years ago, a young man appealed to the public. Wait, was it below the picture? Mr. Drebber's dreadful encounter. Well, I mean, it said Drebber, so... I mean, not completely, but close enough? Criminal had been put to death, re-emerging from his grave in the middle of the night. But the public treated his claim as nothing more than an amusing anecdote that was soon forgotten. 10 years later... the same man steals the waxwork while he's criminal. Ostensibly, ostensibly to use as a body double for the victim in case of discussing it today, even though the waxwork build is a poor match for the victim and its face is obscured by a mask. So the question is, why would the man do this? Which brings us to 3 days ago when the birdcage crashed into the tower. Here we go again. Back we go. This was saying Waxwork, the coroner from Scotland Yard who investigated Dr. Scythe, would have noticed immediately. Autopsy report with the victim, which was seen earlier. Why? Because the waxwork was that of the professor. Is that what you're saying? Document there. A criminal whose apparent resurrection was witnessed by Mr. Drebber. Yeah, I think we're about to get Pandora's box here. I think we're about to open the lid. And Mr. Drebber used that particular waxwork as a double. Ah! Let me double check that quickly. Well, I'm curious if that was actually something I don't know. There we go. Some Dr. Scythe to the stand. The defense is determined to find out exactly how the coroner and Mr. Drebber are connected.
Missive I received this morning through the prosecution's office. Dr. Scythe is unable to participate in these proceedings. Is that not the case?
She told us herself, didn't she? Yes, she did. Back. God has forbidden it. But Strongheart? The Pandora's box you were warned about is the Professor case, but please don't make the mistake of thinking you'll get any information out of it from me. On the night of that killer's execution 10 years ago, and surely nobody would want to get to the bottom of that more than Lord Van Sykes. The prosecution calls for the instructions in that missive to be scrapped. Scrapped? Lord Van Sykes, the missive was issued from Lord Chief Justice's office.
Objection!
The assigned prosecutor has the final say on policy in any particular trial. In other words, me. Ooh! Van Sykes! Let Enoch Drebber and Dr. Scythe both take the stand together! Let's go! Go Van Sykes! He wants the truth! He wants the truth! Subpoena with immediate effect addressed to Dr. Scythe of the Forensic Investigation Team. The woman is compelled to attend on Her Majesty's orders. Go Sykes! What do you do? When does the third case? This is amazing! This game shoots the third game syndrome completely out of the water. Third case syndrome. Let's end this. Oh, and you're still here. Thank you for your attendance at such short notice, Dr. Scythe. I'm disappointed in you, Lord Van Sykes. You completely betrayed the agreed policy of both Scotland Yard and the prosecutor's office. Betrayal is not in my nature, as long as the truth isn't compromised. If it is, if there's even a hint of wrongdoing, then no matter whom it concerns or disgruntles. Everyone down is becoming disgruntled! Threw the matter to the bitter end, as would any prosecutor worth his salt. Oh. Mr. Drebber, you took the victim's life by means of a machine constructed in the workshop. This is nuts. Where are we going with this? Investigating coroner, you were the first on the scene to examine the victim's body. It is the belief of the defense who collaborated with each other and were both complicit in the crime. And where's your evidence? At present, we have no definitive evidence, but we do have a very significant clue. What are you talking about? I'm talking, of course, about the waxwork. This model of the killer known as the Professor, who was sentenced to death 10 years ago. You don't need to tell me. I witnessed the man's execution with my own eyes and officially pronounced him dead. That remains to be seen. Is that so? Yeah. Here's a question, though. Van Sykes or Edgeworth? Who's better? I don't know. I kind of like them both. Came back to life. Don't waste my time. And the sole witness to that mysterious event was you, Mr. Drebber, wasn't it? If what you saw in the graveyard that night 10 years ago wasn't some chilling fiction, but reality, you're privy to a great secret of Dr. Sykes. A secret so profound it could compel the coroner to agree to collaborate in your evil scheme. Mr. Drebber, tell the court, tell everyone the truth of what you saw. There we go. Oh! See the resemblance, actually, can't you? With the man in Madame Two Spells, I mean. Surely he's not going to claim that's really what he saw, especially not after all these years. He was a research student at the University of London, was he? And a bit too clever for his own good, if you ask me. What an interesting twist. When at the time, not one person would take me seriously. Yet now here we are, 10 years later, and suddenly my story matters. It's true! Very well then, if everyone so wishes. Let's be frank. I'll tell you the truth of what happened that night for what it's worth. Scythe? Scythe looked. Why? The events of the night 10 years ago. You will tell the court exactly what you stumbled in Lowgate Cemetery. Yes, of course, as you wish. It's hard to say. Right. The reason I was in Lowgate Cemetery all 10 years ago was for a spot of moonlighting, shall we say. Yes, the illustration in that newspaper article was based on what I witnessed that night. But thinking back now, I realize that I never actually saw the professor. No, you didn't. You saw a mask. Soon afterwards, I was visited by a young woman who sculpted a model of me from wax. And I gave up on my dream of becoming a scientist, and it was all because of that newspaper article. Nope. So, he didn't actually see the professor. I beg to differ. I mean, that doesn't look like a mask, does it? Maybe? I don't know, that's my only hint in all of this so far. Of course, you'd have to have a screw loose if you believe a corpse could come back from the dead. But, so you're saying this article is not worth the paper it's printed on? I think that would describe it perfectly, yes. Fuck! True, it nullifies your argument for the whole connection. God damn it, and he knows it! Discrediting himself to cripple my argument. What a clever fucker! In the cemetery on some auxiliary business. Can you elaborate? Yeah, that's the bit we need to know. That grave robbing! So, petrol to the beginning. True. But Edgeworth had growth, and some people like character growth. It's a rear of Barclay Prison, so among students at the university, it had a reputation of being haunted by the ghosts of condemned convicts. Grave robbing, you say? Great, that's another charge. Exhuming fresh corpses to sell is reasonably lucrative. Of course, I never laid a finger on any valuables buried from the dead. So you were one of the so-called resurrectionists, a particular imprisoned scourge on society. Actually, my fellows and I went by another name. The Repurposers. Charming! You would invite divine retribution, sir! Yes, well, I think I suffered retribution enough. The Daily Circus eventually unearthed my name and put it in print.
It caused me a great many headaches. In the end, I had to leave the university. That was the only paper with the bad grades to identify me unambiguously, I might add. I see. Out of interest, who drew the illustration for this article? Ah, yes, that was the reporter who exposed me. He sketched that right in front of me as I described the scene. Obviously, as time ticked on, I bitterly regret what I'd done, claiming to have seen something I never truly saw. Foolish, very foolish. Yep, there's our motive. So... Yeah, I know what you mean. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, Hannah's working on art as we go. I think she's almost finished. Okay, I actually think I know what it is. I generally think I know what it is. I think it's the third statement. I think it's the third one. Just double check the wording. The reason I was in Lowgate Cemetery all 10 years ago was a spot of moonlighting. That's grave robbing. The illustration of the newspaper article was based on what I witnessed that night. Thinking back now, I realized I never actually saw the professor at all. I think this is it. Because, let me double check that. Never saw it, but look over here. Professor, yeah, there's some warning over here. Newly formed professor off his grave cover as a free of the earth. And he mentioned a gun shop. So, I say it's this.
Objection!
Booyah! Booyah! Quick time! Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! There we go! Don't believe what? Why does it feel like I'm making him sound like Mike from the WarioWare games? Unidentified deprecated. Tell me again, why is he here? Oh dear, we seem to be at odds, but I was there and you are not. I know what I didn't see. The illustration was this article was drawn based upon what you told the journalist. There you go. A figure emerging from a tomb wearing an iron mask. Yes, when the killer was tried 10 years ago, it was decided in the close course ruling the man would wear the mask to hide his identity. It wasn't to be removed even during his execution or subsequent burial. Not even the prison wardens were to see the man's face, but obviously the provision of this mask was not public knowledge. Pandora's box just got opened. Ah! A lowly student of the University of London certainly wouldn't have known about the condemned man's mask. So unless you'd actually seen the professor that night, it's inconceivable the artist would have included the mask in the illustration. Dog. Booyah. Booyah, 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 booyah. There you go, there you go, there you go, there you go. I got it. This is my right. I have got this answer right. Sorry, I got a little carried away. I felt smart, I figured that out. Oh, what now? It is a vile scene, isn't it? If you look closely. What? As I've already been at pains to point out, I was utterly petrified. I had it in my head that I'd seen such a blood-curdling sight, but afterwards I came to my senses and realized that I'd been mistaken. Fucking hell, he's denying it still? It's only sticking to that story, witness. Then amend your testimony to explain. Of course, only too happy to oblige. He's still got more in him?
What have you got? What I in fact witnessed was a fellow grave robber. What? Hang on.
Hold it!
That doesn't sound right. What are you talking about? Oh, the bar's back! With that night, you know. Other body snatchers will... Wait! Other body snatchers! To spell! To spell! To spell! It's gonna be about to spell! Holy Doug. It stopped. This has to be about to spell. So you see. You're claiming it was just another student on equal salubrious business as yourself? Many of the medical students would wear metal masks to protect them from bacteria during dissections. The fellow is using such a mask to protect his anonymity. Wouldn't you say?
Objection!
No! Oh, for a minute I thought I did something wrong. The article goes on to say, in the next second, a gunshot rang out suddenly from behind. The bullet pierced the resurrected man's chest, whose breath then stilled once more. We might assume that the sexton discovered the miscreants at work, perhaps, and fired upon one of them? If a gravedigger had shot someone in the cemetery, I think it might have been rather big news, my lord. More work. So that was an ambulicious...
Strange.
Oh! That's bolted on later. Oh!
Excuse me!
That's fierce! Sholmes is dead. Spell. Don't take it out on Mr. Sholmes. Ooh la la, pardon. I was lost in my thoughts. Would it be fair to say that Mr. Oh, there we go. What now? Those strangers all. How Monsieur Drebber could claim this now? If you don't mind me saying, madam, what are you talking about? Well, when I met you 10 years ago at the university... Chisel on Drebber's face, I'd like that. You recounted to me about your adventures in the cemetery, no? Including the gunshot. Stop! Oh! You might want to watch your tongue, you know.
Objection!
Yeah, ooh la la. Have a care, Drebber. There's no way to speak to a lady. Grr! Please, Madam Two Spells. Carry on. Of course. According to what Monsieur Drebber told me at the time, he did hear a gunshot from behind him and the bullet hit the condemned man. I said nothing of the sort! No, you were very explicit about the details. About the mask that the figure was wearing. And the blood that splattered. The blood on the camera! That's gotta be the blood on the camera! Enough! Shut up, woman! You're making all this up! There we go! Now we got our connection! Yes. You refute the account just given by Madame Two Spells? I have no recollection of ever saying those things. Come on! Do you really expect us to believe you? Control yourself, counsel. I will not permit baseless accusations in my courtroom. Right. Under the circumstances, I think it's best that you supplement your testimony with a statement to clarify your position on this witness. Very well. Okay, this has to be the camera. This has to be the camera now. No gunshot from behind me at all, nor any splattering of blood. Thank you very much. Good night.
Objection!
Or not. Or not? Fuck! What I think is that this whole exchange has been extremely jarring. Fuck! Did I zoom in too fast on that? Hang on. No gunshot from behind me at all, nor any splattering of blood. Soon afterward, I was visited by a young woman who sculpted a model of me from wax. And I gave up on my... I already did. One of these. Oh, fuck! Oh, okay. Pressing statement, I guess. Didn't mean to press that. Well, the bar's still there. Is there more problems? Didn't mean to press that. Yeah, maybe. I pressed the wrong statement. So I found them in. Yes, the article in the Daily Circus, I think you said. I was a poor student with barely a penny to my name at that time. And the young lady put £5 in front of me. So you readily consented to having a waxwork of yourself made and gave permission for it to be put on display. I did. I should sell what little I had to sell. I could do it. Ah, oui. I remember now. I purchased something else from you that day, n'est-ce pas? Something else? Did you? I can't say I remember. What was it, man? Oh, shit! Oh, yes, I made a point of taking it with me whenever I made an excursion into any cemetery. There's the camera! So this is why we had the wrong statement, somehow. But I had no intention of ever visiting the graveyard again after that night, so I sold it. Well, I guess that would make sense. Hello, Red. Good to see you, by the way. Enjoying the show? Monsieur is part of the special exhibit at House of Horrors. I am very meticulous about such details. It is the two spells way. So there's the camera. We have our camera. Okay. Oh, I'm being buzzed. Hey. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 34. Oh, sweet! She's done all 6. She's done all 6. Yeah, that might be the issue part. We need to confirm the camera, which we did. In fact, you know what? We'll make sure of that. Because this was where we found the blood. So, yep, we had the tick on it, so we've definitely done this. So that's the blood. So we have done it. So we got it confirmed. Oh! Wait, did it not save it? Okay, then I gave up my dream of a scientist. Interesting, interesting. Let's see. Okay, now we present it.
Objection.
There we go. Okay, I didn't confirm the blood completely. But that is a camera from the fateful night. We borrowed it from the House of Horrors. It's the camera you took with you to the cemetery that night, Mr. Drebber. And he shut up. And is that supposed to be significant? This kind of camera is rarely seen in our homeland, so my colleague and I were keen to examine it closely. We noticed that the lens extends forwards on the end of some bellows. Like this.
Hold it!
Whoa! Did Van Sykes just go hold it? Van Sykes just went hold it! Yeah, the accidental gave us the fucking answer. Thank you, L1 button. Okay, fair enough. I'll take that. It looks like a dark red stain. Ah! There's our problem. There's mark here on the bellows, in fact. Good lord, are you suggesting? Yes, my lord. It would appear to be a splatter of blood. Something that could be confirmed with a simple chemical test. Isn't that right, Dr. Scythe? It would be difficult to determine if it was human blood and not the blood of some animal. But yes, to test whether or not it's blood at all is simple enough. I was correct, and on the night in question 10 years ago, you were splattered with blood from the gunshot wound.
Well,
Is that gonna... You witnessed the condemned professor emerging from the tomb!
you're... Ah!
Got him.
Come on, break. Come on, robot, break. Let's send this toy back to the factory.
Experience. In other words, the only explanation is that you're trying to hide the fact you saw the professor!
Objection!
Oh, why? Why would he want to do that? Well, not for his own game, it would seem.
For whose then? Who could benefit?
Oh, no. He's obviously lying in order to protect somebody.
My goodness, he's shielding someone. He turned his head.
Someone who doesn't want the truth about the professor coming back to life to be exposed.
He turned his head. He turned his head.
Spattered, not splattered. No, there is spattered when it's just like you. I mean, that's simply spat, but spattered could be past tense of spat. Kinda? Oh wait, no, it's already past tense. Who is the witness trying to protect by lying about what he saw that night?
It's gotta be Courtney again.
Take that!
The obvious answer is Dr. Steve.
Steve. Whatever do you mean?
Wonder what's going through their heads at this point. Is it just like, oh no, they're onto me? And that was to come to light.
What are you insinuating?
And imagine if the convict in question was the country's most hated mass murderer. If it was the professor.
That would be unprecedented scandal.
Objection!
There we go. Need I point out that the dead cannot come back to life?
What you're suggesting would mean
That the execution never happened. What?
Objection!
but they saw it!
To the gallows he hangs. No one could escape, not in Great Britain.
Objection!
But the fact is, there was a witness to the fact the man did escape.
If that were really true, counsel, the implications of misconduct would not stop a supervising coroner. It would taint the honor of the entire judiciary from ground up.
It's exactly because of those monumental repercussions that Dr. Seifel said she did it to protect the system. Oh my god!
You mean...
I mean that Dr. Seif wasn't collaborating in Mr. Drebber's wicked scheme, she was concerned in collaborating to protect her decade-old secret. She switched the
Oh! Looks... Oh no!
Lord Van Sykes?
Pray forgive my freshly filled hollow chalice, and a whole raft of other discourtesies now. Goodness me!
It's just the sort of tall tale Londoners would enjoy, I grant you. An executed killer rising from the dead, a Scotland Yard cover-up, a conspiracy at the highest levels. So let me ask you one thing. What's that? If the condemned man really did emerge from his tomb that night, only to be shot in the chest.
Who pulled the trigger and disposed of it?
Oh! Right, yeah, that's important. That's important. The Old Bailey is no place for wild fantasies. Ugh. And have you considered this, my learned Nipponese friend? Considered what? You realize just what dangerous endeavor it would be to coerce this woman into such criminal activity? If the tantamount to declaring war on the entire Great British police force and judiciary.
quite. Hard to imagine any sum of money being offered for research could warrant it.
To rely on some stage deception when so much is at stake would be madness. Well, I suppose.
And this was no petty crime either. The victim was murdered.
A man who'd already invested money in the venture and would be an instrumental in future profits too. Yeah, he didn't. Short version is Van Sykes is now saying, if that's the case, who pulled the trigger of the gun?
The court is already aware of the contract between myself and the victim, no?
We are aware of that.
Press to force the head of the forensic investigation to cooperate is extreme.
Aeon, what are you thinking? Asmund owned the paper that gave his name and ruined his chances at the unit. Asmund did sign it, didn't he? A forged signature? Could be. Mr. Drebber's motive wasn't money at all. He was trying to kill Asmund. But what was the motive for killing Asmund?
I'd say you have one last chance before the jury lose their patience. Let's see if you can back up your heady proposal, shall we?
I love his assistant just went, nope. I want none of this. It would sound about right, yeah. Asmund would rue it.
Counsel, present the proof. Present the proof.
Alright, who exactly was Asmund to Drebber? A connection that no one's seen yet. And I'm going to have to present two pieces of evidence. Two of them. Explains the witness one of the victim dead is right here. Would this... Would this be the signatures now, then? Would this be it, then?
Take that!
Paper article, my lord. That was written 10 years ago. And every detail's been examined already. What could it possibly tell us? That drive should have never been written. It's typical. Oh, drivel. Ah.
Yeah, sounds about right. Inside another piece of evidence. It will completely explain your motive for wanting Mr. Asmund dead.
What other evidence?
Alright, here we go. The evidence of which cross-reference with the newspaper establishes a motive. This has to be the contract. Take that! Contract, my lord. Mr. Drebber, this is the contract you signed with Mr. Asmund.
Yes, that's right. The very document, in fact.
That proves I had no reason to kill the man.
Nope.
Nope! What? There's something very significant that this newspaper article and the contract have in common.
Really?
And it's that common link. There we go. This is gonna do it.
Seems the defense has uncovered something the rest of us missed. Trying to point out these two pieces of evidence have in common. Where exactly is the link between this?
This has to be the signature. Take that! There we go there. Boop-a-da-boo.
A signature?
Here we go. Accompanies the 10-year-old article and the signature on the contract belong to the same person.
What?
Ah! As the court has heard, this illustration was drawn 10 years ago by the newspaper reporter who found Mr. Drebber and interviewed him about the ordeal. Which was Mr. Asman. Asman was the reporter. Asman was the reporter! He even owned the newspaper, he was the reporter! If you look at the contract which was signed between the witness and the victim last year, you can clearly see Mr. Asman's signature at the bottom. Let me see now. Good lord, yes, they're identical! In short, the journalist who drew the illustration and wrote the article published about Mr. Drebber 10 years ago was the victim of this case, Odie Asman. Oh! There we go!
Objection!
Or not. So in the court, why? Why would that constitute a motive for the witness to murder Asman? Well, if you think back, you'll remember that Mr. Drebber talked about the article in his testimony. He grave robbed.
Sounds reasonable, lucrative. That is quite the appeal. Intuition, sir.
Yes, well, I think I suffered retribution enough. The Daily Circus eventually unearthed my name and put it in print. It caused me a great many headaches. In the end, I had to leave the university. The only paper with the bad grace to enter today, ambitiously, I might add. Gave up on my dream of becoming a scientist, and it was all because of that newspaper article. The article. Interesting. The time you were a student at the University of London who dreamt of becoming a scientist. However, this single newspaper article changed your entire life. How old is he? He was 25 years old at university. That sounds fairly about right. Depending on certain situations. Did he? He did, my lord. In fact, it's widely held belief that Asman managed to position himself at the heart of the criminal network thanks to the many dubious connections he made during his time as a reporter. Oh! So he used his connections to do it. Alright. To give up on your dream and leave university, you lost everything. Eventually, you found yourself working in the field of science. And all because of that article. Written by Mr. Asman! Enough! Have we broken? Stop this endless drivel about my life. What? Okay. Yes, it's true I had to leave the university as a result of that article, but it was just the straw that broke the camel's back. What do you mean? Almost every student of science in the faculty was too poor to actually conduct any research. True. They struggled on with their hypothesis anyway. We all did, only to have them taken by vultures. Sooner or later, you knew your ideas would be stolen and patented by some wretch or other after all. Oh, gracious. Making a name for yourself as a scientist in a climate like that was a miracle only by select few geniuses could ever hope to achieve. Personally, I wasn't one of those geniuses, so it was hardly a wrench. Being forced out of the university because of Lowgate was the best thing that could have happened to me!
Objection!
Drebber, I genuinely believe that?
Of course I do! Who better place to know whether or not I possess a talent for science than me?
No. Even I know this. The trophy.
This has to be the trophy! To say anything about me. I don't know you from Adam!
Fine, if you think you have evidence, go ahead, show it.
What could you possibly have to disprove the idea I was happy to leave?
The trophy. that? So we found it in the workshop. Is that a Royal Society trophy for excellence in science? What exactly is this trophy? Council? It's the greatest honor that could be bestowed on a young scientist, my lord. There is no higher accolade. It recognizes emerging talent and promises a bright future. Good gracious! Your prospects for the future were excellent, weren't they, Mr. Drebber? Because even then you were a genius in your field. But you lost everything. You had no more future. Your talents would go to waste. No. Drebber. Don't know when you realized who Mr. Asman was, but when it dawned on you that he was the same journalist who 10 years ago ruined your life, it's abundantly clear that you had no intention of forgiving the man. We got him? Huh? The truth? What? Scythe! Fine. Clearly this has run its course now. Oh! What? I admit it. Scythe! Wait, what? This man said I was coerced into going along with this man's plot to murder the victim on the condition that he kept my dirty secret from 10 years ago. What the hell? We broke them both? Did we just break them both? Scythe, do you realize what you're saying, woman? It's all true. That day, when I arrived at the Crystal Tower and saw the birdcage, my heart nearly stopped beating. That memory from a decade ago that I'd done my best to bury deep inside myself. It was the professor again staring me in the face. And then, before I had a chance to react, I noticed something else. A note tucked inside the model's jacket. Dr. Scythe, you will go along with my plan from someone who knows the truth of what really happened that night 10 years ago. All the instructions were there in the note. Every detail was meticulously written out. I had no choice but to do what it said. I made the necessary alterations to the scene and fabricated the autopsy report as instructed. Oh shit! No other choice. It had to be done to protect the judiciary. Oh, you apologize now. What? What? Buckle now. Wait, what? Well, there's no point trying to hide it anymore, is there? Too easy? Stop it coming out, even collaborate in murder. But the great lie about the execution 10 years ago has been exposed. Whatever happens, I'm finished. Mr. Drebber, what do you say to that? Your accomplice has admitted everything. Has Drebber gone? Saying. Part in it too, then? What? He's still not done? Forgotten that the kinesis machine was ripped to shreds by an explosion? Short of me admitting to a crime, there's really no possible way to prove I did anything wrong. Drebber's still not done! He's still not done? What now? Says I admit everything. He threatened to expose my secret, so I went along with his plan. Lord Van Zykes, yes. I hope you'll accept my apologies. What happens next is in your hands, of course. Oh!
This is cool. What?
Not the proper forum in which to pursue the alleged wrongdoings of Mr. Drebber. The defendant is Professor Albert Hairbrain. Yeah, oh yeah, I forgot about him a bit. Isn't he one of your closest friends? The court has heard Dr. Cypher's admitted to the allegations, thereby absolving the defendant of any possible guilt. At present time, it's the conclusion of this court. Oh! We got him! We got him!
We did it. Van Sykes is conceding? He conceded! Give us that word! Further ado then, the adjudication. Unless the prosecution or defense have any other matters to discuss. This does feel quite right. Like you said before, the way the trial is set to end now, the judge will certainly deliver a verdict not guilty. Is that weird? Oh no, there's more to this? There's more to this, isn't there? Let's do it.
Objection.
Offensive bloody hell, there's more to this. Beg your pardon? We demand... What?! I don't think anyone saw that one. Did you adjudicate in favor of your client, I presume? What are you playing at now, my Nipponese friend? Why would you want to obstruct the conclusion of the trial at this point? No defense lawyer in his right mind would do that. Even Sasato didn't know this was happening. The whole truth and a way to bring it all out. I was expecting nothing but the truth. Yes, in hindsight... Sholmes, one word of warning before I go. If in the course of the trial this afternoon you preserve even a shadow of doubt about the truth, don't let it out of your sight. Pursue it like a dog with a bone. To the bitter end, you understand? Do not falter, whatever may come to pass. I thought that was more about surviving. No, it's about the ending. He must have deduced that this would happen. God damn it, Sholmes! Yep, we made one mistake with McGillard. Not this time. But that's not all. Then I have a duty to the court to pursue the whole truth of the case until every last detail's bare. And that is why the defense calls for further testimony from Dr. Seath. Seath, close to it. About the nature of your collaboration with Mr. Enoch Drebber. Huh, in case it's escaped your attention, I've already admitted to everything I did. The whole truth has already been revealed, so stop wasting everyone's time. Ah! His lordship made very plain, your client will get the acquittal you wanted for him. There's simply no point in protracting this business further with another tedious cross-examination.
Objection.
My leg! Careless handling of that hollowed bottle. I slipped! Pray forgive my careless handling of the hollowed... It slipped. That's what you call it? What is Van Sykes doing? You should. Also calls for supper. Oh! Oh! There's a surprise look! If there is more to this case than is yet to come to light, then I will join my learned friend in pursuing the facts until the bitter end. You'll what? Oh, Sykes! I love this guy. Say the least. However, as the prosecution also calls for it, I will uphold the request. Dr. Sir, if you will testify for the court, explain the extent of your involvement. There we go.
Very well.
Bullshit you did.
Alright. It all began at the scene when I saw the waxwork and the note tucked inside his jacket. The actual body of the victim, as indicated in the note's instructions, was beneath the experimentation stage. The body had to be arranged in certain ways to implicate the defendant, which was my job. So to help in the entire forensic investigation team to dress the scene appropriately. The truth about the execution 10 years ago was a state secret at the highest level. I had to protect it. Yep, there we go. So it seems, and all meticulously prepared. You did well to see through it. You're a very shrewd boy. So kind of you to say. What about this autopsy report then? All I did was record the location of the body as being in the crystal tower instead of under the stage. That's all? That's a terrible corruption. Only my team were aware of the What?! She had a team know too?! Mercies, I suppose. Good thing there's no particular need for cross-examination, I would say. Something's wrong. Just look at that expression on her face. What is she up to? Alright. Let's do it. Oh, it's dodgily persistent. It's not persistent, they're just loyal. Right. Let's do it. Let's rock. 4 statements to end this off. So the waxwork of the note in the tacket.
Hold it!
Well, we'll find out. And it was anonymous. Do you have any idea who was behind it? Oh, the bar's back! Only happened 10 years ago. But anyway, I've never heard of this engineer, so no, I had no idea. Yet despite not knowing who was behind the plan, you went along with it. I had no choice. Protecting the professor's secret was my only concern.
But the horse is bolted now, and the stable door will never shut again. So we're already too far in. All this.
Yes, thank you, Lord Van Sykes. I'm well aware of that.
I understand it, what you found in the birdcage was the waxwork model. Where then was the victim?
The actual body of the victim, as indicated in the note, was beneath the experimentation stage.
Hold it!
Okay. So you knew what the construction of the stage used to carry out? It was quite obvious what had happened when the victim of the waxwork. And you switched the two over, didn't you? In other words, you recorded the victim's body as having been discovered in the tower and the waxwork. I wrapped it and sent it by carriage to the specified address at the specified time.
So waxwork became a parcel.
Presumably so it could be recovered by Drebber and returned to Man 2 Spells. So that explains that one, and then you put the birdcage back on the stage. Yes, although someone obviously made a mistake about which cage should go where. I thought I'd made it perfectly clear to the team, but still.
So, I suppose you focus on the victim's body, that being more important. Oops! So somebody fucked up in the team and that's what happened.
The body had to be arranged in certain ways to implicate the defendant, which was my job. Oh, I went further on? Whoops!
I pressed X by mistake.
Need our info. When you say arranged, I presume you mean with this? Yes, the instructions in the engineer's notes said something along the lines of fabricate some evidence to make it clear that Hairbrain alone could have killed Asman.
Fuck! So Scythe was the one who stabbed. Took it with me alone to the abyss under the stage where the birdcage had fallen. Alone, Doctor? Oh! I feel it would be appropriate to involve anybody else in this particular part of deception. Oh! There was a void under the stage where I found the birdcage lying in the dirt. I approached it, leaned down, and slowly opened it up. Then I took the screwdriver in both hands and plunged into the man's... Aeon, why wait? Cause of death. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what she said. Let's check. Into the abyss under the stage where the birdcage had fallen. There was the stabbing. Falling from the 30 foot. Oh. So he really died by falling rather than stabbing. It's playing on my mind, that's all. Mine too. So, oh, there's really no need to shout. I can hear you perfectly well. The defense calls for you to add to what you just said. Okay. Which part? Oh. Real cause of death, what she did to the victim. Hang on. Let's look this up. Wait! Look at the blood! Oh, sorry, you can't see it because of the text box, but I'm gonna move the text chat. Look at the blood stain! Why is it dripping down his body that way if he's lying on the ground? It's gotta be what she did. That's been in the chest. That part, fine, if that's what you want. But there's really no need to point. The prosecution concurs. He point too. Therefore, I point too. If you wish, my lord. Do-ba-da-do. Oh, the victim's close to it laid plot. I don't think so. You got the point.
Objection.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Nasty feeling that this inconsistency points to extremely uncomfortable truth. Here we go. Dr. Scythe, in the last statement of yours, there's just one point that seems to defy explanation. Out with it, my learned friend. There's an obvious inconsistency between your description and the photograph, which shows the victim in the birdcage following the events to the death.
Objection.
There it is. There's nothing new we can learn.
Objection.
That's because you didn't know about this bit. It's true. No, now it facts to be different. What do you mean? Let's explain. Where in this photograph will we see the alleged consistency? The stab wound.
Take that.
go. Extends in a downwards direction towards the man's feet.
And why is that significant, Counsel?
If the victim was stabbed moments before the kinesis machine was set in motion, that's entirely unexpected.
Oh, of course! No, that's not what happened!
Exactly, my lord. Dr. Seif made it very clear in her testimony just now that the point at which she stole Professor Harebrain's screwdriver and stabbed the victim
Was like this!
after the grand deception was set in motion when it fell to the stage out of sight. From the shape of it, it's clear the birdcage would have fallen on its side after the 30-foot drop. And if the victim really had been stabbed whilst inside the birdcage in that position,
Then the blood would be going the other way.
every way. Well, the longitudinal appearance we see in the picture is inconceivable.
Oh! A sweat!
Given the victim's blood seeped vertically downwards from the skull, it must be the case when you stabbed Mr. Asman, he was standing up. Short Dr. Seif.
Booyah!
So she did the wrong thing. Shen, there's only one way to explain it. We've all been under a great misapprehension.
What?
What sort of misapprehension? Dr. Scythe. Where are we going with this? You claim you were coerced into helping Mr. Drebber as a result of the note he left in the waxwork. You claim that you made changes to the scene of the crime to implicate the defendant, and you claim that you authored a fake autopsy report to cover your tracks. But one of those claims is an out-and-out lie, because the question of what the bloodstain really tells us has only one possible answer. If that is the case,
What is it, man? Well, at least we moved up from friend to man.
struck upon a revelation, what is it? Which part of Dr. Zai's story is shown to be a lie in the testimony? How she was coerced, the stabbing of the victim, or the autopsy report? It's gotta be the stabbing, right? It's gotta be the stabbing. Yep, because the stabbing's there. Oh, I'm being pestered. I'm being pestered by people. We might be able to do something with this afterwards, I think. When the victim was stabbed, the blood was found seeping downwards as it did. We can be sure the victim must have been either sitting or standing upright at the time. But as you rightfully pointed out, the birdcage would have fallen on its side when it fell beneath the stage. Yes, it would. Which tells us that the victim must have been in that position of his own accord.
Objection!
The man was dead, remember? What? When the birdcage fell from the stage into the void below, it must have hit the ground with considerable force. He got... But Mr. Asman didn't die in the fall. Oh my god. He probably lost consciousness for a while, but when he came round, he got to his feet to climb out of the cage. And thus found the pretty lady. Have we got him? At the point in time, it changes everything. So... Point in time, I think we got him. Scythe actually did the deed. Sound like it. Mastermind behind. Mr. Odious' killer wasn't the defendant, Mr. Alberton. Mr. Strange trickery.
It was you, Dr. Courtney Scythe! Booyah! Could this possibly be true? Have you been taking me for a fool? It was you, was it? You killed him?
Oh, I think we got them both. To be an accomplice in Mr. Bird, the trial would end before you were accused of a far worse crime. Yep. Cold-blooded murder. Oh, do shut up! You're so desperate. You're making all this up as if I would do something like that.
Objection.
Oh, thank you, Sasato. Doctor, Mr. Naruto established the facts using evidence and logic alone. Huh, logic? Oh. We might have to do a group one because Aeon, Dell, Hannah's finished them all. She's finished all the art. Your logic has a gaping hole in it. What? What do you mean? Give me a second. Oh. Give me a second. Give me a second. There we go. Motive, boy. You're lacking a motive. What possible reason would I have to kill Mr. Asman?
Yeah, that's the bit we don't know.
Wasn't a theft to murder, but there's no known connection to Dr. Scythe there. Yeah, that's the missing bit. There's no obvious motive, but there's still something in the back of my mind. I feel sure I've seen something somewhere that hints as why the coroner might have done this. Yes, I might have tampered with the crime scene and concocted a fake report, but murdering someone for no reason is a very different story.
Objection.
There's an... Wait, when you questioned what possible reason you could have wanting to kill Mr. Asman, something did come to mind. There's a reason? Well, once. We saw it yesterday, didn't we? Something that seemed strange, but we had no reason to suspect at the time. Oh. Explains why Dr. Scythe would have wanted to kill Mr. Asman. Wait! It's the scalpels. It's the scalpels. For those who remember, she mentioned her team orders a lot of them. That way they could get rid of one and disguise it as a scalpel that was used in an emergency. It's gotta be the scalpels. It's a scalpel, or rather, scalpels. Scalpels? There we go. The word has struck a chord, Doctor. You... Come on, out with it! You'll see. Yesterday, when we visited your laboratory. Look at this big, thick book here. It's an accountant ledger. It's a record for forensic investigation team spending, I think. Oh, what is it? It's clear that the team purchases various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but, well, one entry seems rather strange. Really? In what way? They're buying 500 scalpels every month. Why 500? It's too big of a number, especially for scalpels. 500 scalpels a month? That's what you could be using many scalpels for. But actually, I realize now it's not the scalpels themselves that are significant. It's the money for them disappearing every month. The station relied heavily on extortion for its funding. Tracing the money for the forensic investigations account to find out where it was going would be extremely straightforward. In short, she used so much money to buy equipment, she tried to cover it up. 10 years ago, when Mr. Asman was still a journalist, wrote this article about Mr. Drebber. He may have well stumbled upon information as he was researching the story. Information related to Dr. Sife's darkest secret and would use it to wreck money from her the next decade. Her darkest secret? Good lord, you mean? I don't know what happened on the night of that execution 10 years ago, but clearly the opportunity to rid yourself of that menace was too tempting to pass up. Can't slither away, Scythe. Caused it all, were you? You did it entirely of your own free will. You stabbed Mr. Asman in the heart with all your might to silence the blackmailer who knew your dark secret forever! You'll never... Oh, is that it? What we've had to keep covered up all these long years. I think we got him. Is that a break? I think that's a break. And what about you? She remains after it's ripped apart by the bomb. The truth of this case can never be properly established unless you speak out. And if you decide not to, it's very possible that Courtney Scythe will escape punishment for her crimes. So own up to what you've done and tell the court the truth of what happened. 10 years ago you told the truth and you were robbed of a bright and successful future as a result. Certainly understand your bitterness and your consternation in now. However, it's only the chance you've been waiting for. Okay, so he's having a chance to at least do something. Super high voltage, instantaneous kinesis? I mean, really? It's the addle-brained mock scientists that are the worst, you know. They don't recognize the fact that they don't have talent. They can't even get that right. And so they end up chasing impossible dreams, having unbridled faith in their abilities. They go on and on about their wonderful hypothesis, their stupid eyes shining like a little child's. They make me sick. I can't abide their foolishness. Careful, Mr. Drebber. I was particularly pleased with the kinesis machine. It made for quite a show, didn't it? Fuck. So you admit it? You admit that it was nothing more than a sham made for the purpose of killing the victim? Yes, I admit it. Booyah! I did it all in the name of revenge. The future that Mr. Asman's article had deprived you of 10 years earlier. But the revenge you sought didn't stop at Asman, did it? Which is where that very particular waxwork comes in. Yes, I see. The condemned convict you saw rising, so that's why he used the professor as a means to try to get rid of everything. Your accounts of those events were all true. Then obviously Scotland Yard couldn't afford to acknowledge what happened, even if it meant discrediting a bright young man and crushing any future career he might have had. So your plan required you to abduct the particular waxwork model in order to exact your revenge on Scotland Yard as well, or on Dr. Scythe to be precise. Jeez. This is the type of shit you expect for the end of the game.
By some extraordinary twist of fate, Asmund turned up in my workshop. He didn't remember who I was, of course. He just wanted to employ my services as an engineer. And he happened to have a paper with him. An article on the front page caught my eye. About the coroner who'd handled that bogus autopsy being appointed head of a new forensic team. When I learned that news, my cognitive process started to devise the plan. The hard tale. He robbed me of my future, so I wanted to use that man's own wiles against him, for revenge, and have that rotten Scotland Yard eating out of my hand at the same time. I wanted them all to suffer the same humiliation I'd had to suffer! Jeez. So this was down to Asmund and Scotland Yard. Those who ruined your future were justified as revenge, at least to yourself. Certainly, no one has the right to destroy another's prospects, especially for purely selfish gain. And yet, in carrying out your plan, you did exactly that to someone else, didn't you? Did I? Professor Hairbrain's only crime was passion for his hypothesis. But you had no compunction about sacrificing his future to exact your revenge. You knew that he would be forever branded a failure and a fraud. Perhaps life treated you unfairly 10 years ago, and others' misconduct left your life in tatters. But remember this. Your own actions resulted in exactly the same thing for another perfectly innocent young man. Trevor. I don't know how to say about this. Where do we even go with this one? The arrests have been granted and she's been remanded in custody, my lord. I presume she will face trial in the coming days, along with Mr. Drebber. I wanted to call him Doctor, I guess he earned it. Most regrettable situation indeed. She's made great contributions to her profession over the years. It really is a hard truth to swallow. However, that's the topic for some future occasion. For now, Professor Hairbrain. You've learned so much you'll consider. Nope. It seems there was a great deal more to your experiment than you realized. However, I think we can assume now that all the sordid details have been brought to light. This has been a very long and profound trial, but I'm pleased to say you are absolved of all guilt. Well, experience has taught me a great deal, but a painful lesson. I've been, this dedicated scientist, this devotee of natural philosophy. I've been selfish and self-centered, and above all, a fool. Oh, I've spent my life thinking of nothing but my research, misguidedly believing that I could do whatever I set my mind to, despite my lack of talent. And the worst of it is, in the process, I've caused others pain and misery. Others who are far, far greater people than I. No, Professor, that's not true. What? Don't tar yourself with the same brush as Drebber. What happened was his doing and his alone. This outcome is his fate, not yours. You're not to blame in any way. And Sykes, and the derision from which he referred to you earlier, calling you a fool, talentless even. The man has no idea. To believe in yourself and work your fingers to the bone to realize your dreams, that's laudable, not laughable. No one has the right to deride another such as choices. Oh. Thank you, Baddock. Oh. Yes, my lord.
You know, they've actually been really patient. They found the defendant not guilty of the charge which he stands accused. I presume there were no objections.
None for me, my lord.
Certainly not. This trial has really made me think, but this is the right decision.
It's all been proven methodically and rigorously. I have no misgivings whatsoever.
What's that? He's done, is he? It's all over?
I don't know what's become of the yard these days. I don't recognize the place.
Well, I feel bad for the sixth one. Alright. The defendant... not guilty! Perfect. Hey, we got not guilty on a 4. I feel happy. Court is adjourned. I will take that. It's over. That was some trial. Whew. Satisfied. A satisfied result. Okay. A proper result. Come, is it? Oh, it is. It is. Congratulations, Professor Habrain. Mr. Naruhodo. Mr. Sato. I am truly beside myself with gratitude. How can I ever thank you enough? I'm just glad it's all been cleared up. Did you realize you were just caught in a bad situation?
Right now, you know, I have done such great money. I'd give the whole lot to you, every penny.
Well, that's very kind, but I'm just a student, so... I mean, it's nice. But it was more than enough. Oh dear, what can I do? Ah! How about this, as a memento? The paper about my hypothesis is inside. Well, just as a memento then. Thank you. You know, I'm fine with that. A nice memento. Professor, what are you going to do now? Oh my, yes. What am I going to do? My hypothesis and my great machine lie in ruins. But still, it's been too long since I was last in London, so perhaps I'll enjoy some sightseeing. I must explore the great exhibition whilst I'm here too, and see if new inspiration hits me. Good man! As long as it's inspiration. What? Van Sykes? Hello. Buddy. Thanks for the help. Don't hurt me. Back?
I'm sorry you had to go through that, Albert.
Well, if I'm honest, it was terrifying. You were like a great demon behind your bench there, snarling down on your prey.
You're one of the few true friends I have. I couldn't leave it to anybody else to handle the
Oh, Van Sykes. Sorry? Or the defense? Did I just hear that right? Oh, Koval, you finally turned up! Said Hart, don't worry. Ah, how about you show me around when I'm here in town? It's been a long time since we left university. We have a lot to catch up on.
Listen, Albert. In a few days, your acquittal will be made official. When that happens, you must head straight back to
Dover! Right back to Dover? The port? What?
From there, you'll cross the channel and make your back to Germany. I've already purchased your tickets.
But no, hold on a minute, Barak. What about the great exhibition? This is the chance of a lifetime for me. I want to look around.
No sightseeing, Albert.
Van Sykes? But why? He won't with those eyes. Maybe. Lord Van Sykes? What's all this about?
A necessary precaution.
Yes, I think I understand. You do? Well, Iris told me that when you met Lord Van Zykes in his office some days ago, he asked how Mr. Natsumi was doing. Yes, that's right. I remember being surprised at the time and thinking it was nice of him to ask. The point is, Mr. Natsumi is still alive and well. Even though it's been more than 6 months now since he's had trial with the Reapers. Oh, yep. There's the curse. Which overseas. In short. Yep. Kind of. Those in the Reaper's sight meet their end days and sometimes months after their acquittal. That's been the pattern up till now. But of course, we know that both Mr. Natsumi and Gina were completely innocent. True. And perhaps that governs the Reaper's actions. The truly innocent are spared. But I don't want to take any chances with a close personal friend. Oh, he's sending Hairbrain away because he doesn't want to risk it. Good on him. Like the mustached Nipponese, this man should leave the country without delay. That's why I'm packing him off to Germany at once. Right. Does your friendship package get any say in it? Goodness, was that your intention all along, Mama Dykes? True. In court where people think of him as the Reaper, this man seems absolutely merciless. And yet, sometimes I feel as though I don't understand him at all. It's time to go, Albert. Back to the prison for the time being. Ah, yes. All right. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you so much for everything. Oh, Professor. It's a pleasure getting to know you. Good luck, Professor. Cheers. All the best to you, my friend. Well, once the dust is settled, you must come and visit me in Germany. Anyway, goodbye for now. At least it was a proper invitation. More studies. Oh, Kotlol doesn't know. Kotlol, do you want the full... Kotlol, do you want the full truth or not? Kotlol was a bit late. Okay, so the short version... the engineer was involved, but wasn't the killer. It was actually the forensics head. The girl. Seath. In short, it was all to cover up the events of... Yep. It was to cover up the events of the professor. Supposedly... the professor's death was not at the time needed, and basically she fucked up. So it was Scotland Yard's biggest mistake. Our little engineer friend got wind of it and used it to blackmail her. She got involved of her own accord and killed. Yep, there you go. Red got it. Drebber blackmailed Scythe to collaborate, but she found the victim alive after the fall didn't kill him, so she stabbed him. So the idea was the fall was supposed to kill him, but it didn't. No. Oh boy. Oh, I thought you'd gone to... Matters to discuss. Oh! You want to talk with me? I'll be waiting in the courtroom in 10 minutes. Oh. Well, that was strange. For some reason, I didn't get that sense of impending doom. Mm-hmm. The enigma, Barrack Van Zykes. What does he want to discuss, I wonder? The answer awaits in the courtroom, I suppose. Here goes, then. 24th October, 4:58 p.m. The Old Bailey Courtroom. The professor. And everyone here. Are you satisfied? You saved a guileless scientist from great injustice. Yes, I think so. I'm relieved, at least, that the man's innocence could be proven. Anyway, I imagine you've been wondering where my animosity towards you Nipponese come. Oh shit! We're getting plot? What? First, I thought you just didn't like me. I imagine you saw me as a pretentious child from an unimportant land who had no business being here. We'll find out, I guess. Well, we got it here as well. You clearly know our ways, so I would guess that some specific incident led you to thoroughly dislike of my race. Will you tell me what happened, please? The professor. I thought I'd never hear that name in this courtroom again, to be honest. He took your brother's life. Clint. My brother was Clint Van Sykes. 16 years ago, when I was still just in my teens, he was already the director of prosecutions and a key member of the judiciary. I looked up to him. He was my everything I aspired to be. He was involved in the establishment of justice systems in foreign countries as well. There were exchange programs between Britain and other nations then too to share knowledge and ideas. Okay. A judiciary. Okay, I'll work on that. Either way, jury, judical. Other word. 3 judical students came to Britain from the Empire of Japan. 16 years ago, then, could have been... Mikatoba! Of course, I remember Dr. Mikatoba. Mikatoba was one of them. Minor at the time, training at the prosecution's office. One day, Clint introduced me to the 3 visiting Nipponese. So, you've actually met my father. He and his colleagues were polite and amicable. They were adept at their work and exacting in their standards. It was my first encounter with the Nipponese spirit, and it made a very great impression upon me. But 6 years later, that's when it happened. The professor. The investigation was going nowhere. There were no suspects even, just an ever-growing list of victims. And in the end, my brother became one of them. The last, in fact, before the case was finally resolved. I'm so sorry, Lord Van Sykes, truly. Clint was always ready to put his life on the line for justice anyway, so he wouldn't have wanted it any other way. He lost his life to the killer, but it was his victory in the end. For me, personally, though, it was a great loss. I found myself in a very dark place indeed. I finally found out the killer's identity. The reason why no one had been able to catch the man soon as ceased to be such a mystery. He'd been hiding in plain sight all the time. In plain sight? Are you aware of political events 10 years ago? It was a period of extremely sensitive diplomacy between the British and Japanese empires. A new treaty was being forged, I think. Correct. The Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation was being concluded. The leaders of both countries were deep in extensive political discussions. Which is why this particular killer's appearance in court was conducted as a closed trial. To prevent that treaty from being fucked. If the British public had known the identity of the killer, not only would the treaty have been in jeopardy, but our 2 nations could very well have ended up at war. What? A war? But that would mean... Oh my! You mean to say the professor was... Oh.
When the trial reached its conclusion earlier, I thought to myself, yes, it's time.
Voice acting! Proper voice acting!
Time for you to come face to face with this hideous monster. I borrowed the key for the mask from the proprietress of the Waxwork Museum. So see for yourselves now. Confirm it with your own eyes. The truth that's been hidden this past decade.
We're actually getting an answer.
That's the professor?
Yes, that's him.
Until now, the thought never even crossed my mind. That the mass murderer, whose crimes shook Britain as never before, was Japanese.
What? Oh shit. This has to be
Wait a minute. That face. I feel as though I've seen it somewhere. It's strangely familiar.
It's gonna be Kazuma, isn't it?
It's Kazuma! That's his hair!
Father.
Wait!
Father?
What? What? No. No fucking way. No fucking way.
Kazuma! My best friend, Kazuma Asogi. After a whole year, finally his memories returned.
Kazuma! It was Kazuma!
As he stood there before me.
Yeah, we all knew it. They hinted it too much. I'm sorry. They hinted it way too much. What?
Ryunosuke. Hello again. My friend.
Kazuma-sama!
Judicial Assistant Mikotoba.
No, I didn't. I didn't expect the
It's
reveal.
been a very long road. Thank you. Thank you for guiding my friend here when I could not.
It was an honor.
He didn't die. Wait, so that technically that means they revived him in the second game. Bloody,
I knew you wouldn't die that easily. Kazuma.
you fucker.
I owe you thanks, too, for taking good care of that in my absence.
The sword.
Karuma. Great blade of the Asogi clan. Passed down through the generations.
Probably. I'm sure we'll have some answers.
When we left Japan, this sword was at my friend's side. The Japanese man's katana is his soul.
Yeah.
He couldn't be parted from it.
Kuruma? How is it stained, Kotlol?
But then, when the incident happened,
What? Wait, you're right. It's a family sword. It's a family sword that's passed in generations, which means Kazuma inherited it. Oh, fuck. No, but... That's why Kazuma was allowed, because it was a fucking evidence.
The sword. And I've kept it with me ever
It could
since,
be an idea.
along with my memories of the friendship we share. With this by my side, I always felt that you were watching over me somehow.
You know, it looks right with him.
I've made it. At last.
Huh? Father. Are you saying... Surely not. You mean... You knew all this time? I'm looking at it. But... I still can't believe it.
So that's true.
This mass murderer is Kazuma's father.
Kazuma-sama.
What the fuck?
Ryunosuke, we have much to talk about.
Yes,
But
we
now
do!
is not the time. I'll be seeing you.
That's all Kazuma said.
Yeah.
Before he turned and left us there, in the courtroom.
And sakes. So he's the living after image of the man who took my brother's life, is he? Yes, Kazuma Asogi, my best friend. 3 months ago, when Lord Stronghand introduced us, I had an inkling there was something there, some connection. Why did Lord Stronghand do that? Why did he make Kazuma Lord Van Syke's apprentice? He was suffering amnesia, too. The man was apprehended, even executed. But his legacy just won't die. That's the sad truth. Anyway, that's all I had to say. I thank you for meeting with me as I asked. Van Sykes. And he's off. So, Mama took me to the railway station. We were there to meet my father from the train. For me, it was the first time I'd ever seen him. This is tied with painful memories for her, too. She's never talked about this with me before, though. It took time to adjust to having father around, but just when I was starting to get used to it, he called me into his study one day. He told me that a great friend of his had passed away in London, and that the friend had left behind a son. A boy, 7 years my senior. Father told me the boy had made a promise to his late father. Yeah, this is the third case! This lawyer. I wanted to help, so I studied to become a qualified judicial assistant. So that was Kazuma. Doubt. The young man's name was Kazuma Asogi. You see, that's how he and I met. So that explains the connection.
For a brief moment, my great friend had returned, only to disappear again all too soon. But in that fleeting encounter, something stirred. Something that had been dormant for a long time. As if great wheels had been set in motion. I could almost hear them creaking into life. In some ways, it was the end of a chapter. But in many, it was the start of a new one.
And that's chapter 3. Okay, this is where I'm going to make a slight honest confession live here on stream. I actually got spoiled of that about after I played the second case. When we did the second case, a YouTuber that I watched had the video, and the display picture was Kazuma with the mask off. So that display picture spoiled it. I didn't look at the video, but it was right there in my subscription box. So it was right there in front of me. So I accidentally knew that, but I didn't know about the rest of the whole part of it. What the fuck do we say about that? So, to Eon, I did know. And I'd like to point out, Eon messaged me because I asked him, who do you think it was? He thought it was... Well, here's a question. Did you all... Yeah, the game didn't dance too long around it. No, it didn't. I mean, when they said familiarity, they twisted Karma and his last bow. I think it's fair that we do tradition. We look at the intro before we wrap it up. It was indeed a most bizarre incident born of a curious advertisement and a commonplace killing all around town.
Pipe in hand, Sholmes looked down at the thick, rolling fog outside our window. I wonder exactly how many mysteries are out there, hidden within this bed of fog, he said. Indeed, a most bizarre incident, born of a curious advertisement. A hellhound's mad gallop through the shadows of a serial murder. An executed man's graveyard resurrection in the dead of night.
Hand of the mask.
And a commonplace killing in a small, forgotten room at the edge of town. There is, naturally, always another side to every case, of which most remain ignorant. And it is that other side which compels me to the scene of the crime, Wilson. So quickly now, take your hat and let's be on our way, my dear fellow. For our adventure is not over yet. Come.
The game is afoot!
The game is afoot.
Wow. 8 days after the earth-shattering trial and Kazuma regaining his memory, we were in the foyer of one of London's most luxurious hotels, the Great Waterloo Hotel. Ah, traditional. 1st of November, 1024, the Great Waterloo Hotel foyer. But that's a story for another time, I'm afraid to say. So,
What the fuck?
okay. I think we can fair to say, I think this case has been... Brownie Tide want to go to sleep. He's also got 9:30 in the morning start till 5:30, so he's got barely any time to do the extra D&D stuff. So guess what he's doing when he gets home tonight? or tomorrow. But with that said, that's all for tonight's stream. I think we can all agree that that's the best third case that has ever officially happened. Though I wish they didn't. Though I went with Carlos part. Wish they didn't do it too quick. If they didn't say about the familiar thing, it probably would have worked a lot better. Or maybe he just randomly came in at the end. Just randomly came in and goes, this is something that should be known. But with that said, tomorrow we're going back to Hoenn, as it's Pokemon D&D time for tomorrow. Now, as I mentioned on a note, Caitlin is no longer going to be a part of the Pokemon campaign, but she should be joining us, hopefully, on later ends, depending if work can be somehow lenient with her. But for the moment, she is going to be outside, so Holly will be taking a break. But we have a sixth person who won't be joining us tomorrow, but will be joining us later. You'll have to tune in to see exactly what happens there. But until then, guys, if you were charged or joy with this stream, be sure and hit subscribe or follow wherever you're watching this, or Pokemon D&D if you, or Pokemon MD&D if you will. Funny. But yes, I will see you guys tomorrow for D&D. So until then, everyone, this is Brownie of the Joy Charge Gamers, signing off on Let's Play Live, The Great Ace Attorney. Ooh, Mystery Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, that might be the good name if we ever do the Mystery Dungeon version. But until then, everyone, stay charged. Catch you all later. And to you all, goodbye.